had the ability to be able to do that. Mitchell last week, no coincidence, is it, that they got back to form? Why he had 40-something possessions. You're right. They are just two super players, and if they've got a heap of the footy, because they're also good use of it, you can guarantee that the next person on the Hawthorn link gets it in a position where he can hurt the opposition.
The record home and away crowd for these two teams is 57,634 back in 1986. They're going to give that a nudge this afternoon for sure. And the last twice these teams have encountered each other, Hawthorn has won by 100 points and 78 points. And there was that night in the middle of 2007 when they clashed on a Friday night. Carlton started favourite and were beaten by a century, just to emphasise how far away from it they were. So that's some of the important backstory to this encounter that Stan and Mark have been speaking of.
And Jared, they just put the prices up on the scoreboard. Hawthorn, last year's premiers, $1.94. Carlton, last year's no-hopers, but on the improved, $2.04. So not much between them. $1.94 Hawthorn, $2.04 Carlton.
Kelly Underwood's in the front row of the grandstand. Kel, not a bad day to sit down there.
Not a bad day at all. There's not a cloud in the sky, although it is rather chilly in the shade of the grandstand. And no late changes, as we've already heard. Starting on the bench for the Hawks is Osborne and Guerra. They came back into the side at selection on Thursday night. And also sitting alongside them will be Tuck and Renoff. And for the Blues, O'Halpin, Scotland, Houlihan and Bentley, who is an elevated rookie for the Blues. Greg Bentley, for former Port Adelaide player, played 21 games for them. So looking forward to it.
And there's a medal to be presented today, the David Parkin medal for the most valuable player on either side. They must display the following qualities: leadership, presence, team values, performance in a team role and influence on the outcome of the game. David, of course, is a life member of both clubs.
Who?
Any other traits that he might display that the medalist might have?
Can't talk about them.
So Carlton and Hawthorn to do battle Saturday afternoon,
what,
round 6.
Fantastic to hear his voice again
he's great.
on Friday night footy.
Yep, no, I agree with you. I had 5 years of it roaring down my neck.
Paul Bauer has gone to stand next to Lance Franklin, who's out at centre half forward for the Hawks. Brendan Fevola looks like he's going to be joined by
Campbell.
Robert Campbell. The ruckman will go head-to-head with the Fev. Grandstand AFL at the MCG. We can hear it building, the Hawks and the Blues. Drew Morfitz.
And Jordan Lewis has gone to Chris Judd. What a scenario. Umpire McLaren bounces in the middle and they set themselves. Up goes Taylor, but he's beaten by Cruiser. Whistle's gone straight away by the non-officiating umpire. There was a hold on Judd, and Judd takes the first kick of the game. Goes out wide, and Fevola, playing up the ground, takes the mark in between wing and half forward for the Blues. The kick by Fevola down towards the 50. Poor attempt by Carazzo. No mark at the back, Hodge. He wins possession. And they share the ball through Dowler with a couple of touches, and a kick by Dowler is good for Lewis at centre half back for the Hawks, and he opens it up on the great southern stand side to Sewell. Sewell marks, gets on his bike, has a bounce, kicks a wobbly old ball down towards full forward in the direction of Franklin, but it's tapped away from him, taken by Bauer, kick out of defence, and a dive by Moss at full stretch, and he knocks the ball to the boundary line and wins a boundary throw in on the 50 with Hawthorn in attack. Moss, who was outstanding last week and kicked 4 goals in a best on-ground display, won the Rising Star for the week.
Boundary throw in, Cruiser and Taylor. Give it to Cruiser from behind, but he knocked it down to Lewis. Hand pass was ineffective. Murphy got in the way and made sure there would be another bounce.
Carazzo's got Hodge, and that's the one they want. They want to take him out of the way. Carazzo actually ran towards the boundary, got free, and they kicked it over his head.
Rioli is standing next to Judd at this bounce. Williams takes the ball at the back of the pack. Hand pass to Lewis. Giving ground to Mitchell and more ground back to Sewell, trying to find the way forward. Dowler and Sewell all the way back at the wing. Now the switch of play into the middle for Murphy. He'll bring it broadcast side. White cross marks, pauses, assesses the 50. False starts and now sets it up high. Franklin and Bauer with the field converging. Cruiser the spoil, loose in the pocket. Simpson's running shotgun with Thornton. Thornton gave it to him. Off to Cruiser. Now to Judd. Shimmied the hips at halfback. Sets it up to the wing. Spoils were made. Ball loose on the wing. The Hawks almost got out. Good tackle by Russell, out of play.
Right below us here. And Well, Jordan Russell not too happy with Murphy. And Russell also might have got one around the throat or something. Here's a throw in on the centre wing. Haven't had a score as yet, been playing 2.5 minutes. Knocked out by Taylor for the Hawks, but rode by Cruiser. Hand pass to Murphy. Murphy under pressure. The hand pass to Gibbs, who burst through magnificently, Bryce Gibbs. And his kick to half forward is on the half volley to Carazzo. He fumbles. Mitchell's there for Hawthorn. Goes to ground. Terrific hand pass comes out from Hodge. And the Hawks off and running. Through the middle of the ground goes to Williams. Off to Dew. A left foot driving pass by Dew. Roughhead marks in the forward pocket.
Gee, I was almost critical of him because I thought when Drew got the footy about 55 metres out, nobody in the goal square, he's going to slam this through, but he just weighted the ball on the outside of his boot to just give Roughhead a chance, even though it's a very, very tight angle.
Roughhead, equal leading goal kicker for the season, along with Buddy Franklin and Eddie Betts. They're all here today. Roughhead could go to the lead if he kicks this from about 30 out. He steers it through. And the Hawks get the first goal. Hawthorn 1 goal. Carlton yet to score. 3.5 minutes play.
Yeah, they've looked much cleaner with the ball, Hawthorn. They've moved it well. They've hit their targets very well. They've always got a loose one out wide, and they use it very well. And Dew again, straight away. But it was all set up because Carazzo, who is supposed to play on Hodge, actually is not taking him out of the way. His job is to actually move Hodge from centre-half back out of the way. If he runs to the other spot, Hodge may not follow him, and that's when you get the ball kicked to you. He's under pressure all the time, and Hodge was terrific there. Great quick handball, set it all up.
Sewell is with Gibbs, Lewis with Judd, and Rioli with Murphy at this bounce. Taylor and Cruiser stare at each other with the Hawks a goal and Carlton yet to score. 4 minutes played. And an inordinate delay in restarting play. We're set to go back in the middle of the MCG. Taylor wins the tap. Murphy had a hand pass which was smothered. It was a bit of a schmozzle in the middle. Try again. A lot more players around it. Umpire nearly threw it up. Goes back to bounce it instead. The ruckman come from the side this time. Taylor knocked it goal side. Gibbs was offloaded without a possession. Wiggins is in there tackling fiercely. Last man to hold it is Sewell. Third bounce. The ball having moved only a matter of metres. Cruiser stands his ground and wins the tap. Not much there for him though. Lewis is ferociously buried. Rioli's trying to tunnel away through. Almost got there. Gibbs held him up. Rioli held it for too long. He tried to make the play. He failed. And thus he's been penalised holding the ball. Gibbs off to Murphy. Got confronted by Rioli. Rioli tackles Gibbs. Gibbs got his kick away. Almost returned the favour. Murphy's in after it. Slips the tackle. Got it out there to Joseph. Hand pass was indiscriminate. Judd's caught with it. Lucky not to be penalised. It's at half forward for the Blues and stuck in some fierce and ferocious contests.
And there's a bit of contest going off the ball too with Whitecross getting into Carazzo, trying to release Hodge.
Cruiser wins a terrific hit out. It comes away. Hand pass by Stevens up the ground to Gibbs from the 50. Carazzo in front and takes the mark in the forward pocket. Carlton's first sortie forward, and Carazzo with this mark about 35 metres out from goal. Playing just his second game of the year. Andrew Carazzo, who in 2007 won the best and fairest, a prolific ball winner. He found himself on Whitecross in that contest, but he had a step on him. Andrew Carazzo only a couple of paces in from the boundary line, kicks from near 40. It's pretty good. It gets over the line and he's kicked the goal. So we've seen 2 goals threaded through from pockets, one at each end. Hawthorn and Carlton a goal each.
And that's a real win for the Blues because just watching off the ball, there's a fair bit of push and shove going down there now because Hodge is trying to play that sweeper role and Carazzo has gone to him. They've set themselves up and Whitecross has gone down. He's getting into Carazzo. Carazzo kept going to Hodge, but in the confusion, Carazzo's smart footy kept his eye on the ball. And as the ball came down, while everybody's pushing and shoving, he actually led onto it and kicked the goal. That's exactly what they would want. The man to try and stop Hodge, but hurt him whenever you can. Really good play by Carazzo.
Goal apiece after 7 minutes on Grandstand AFL. Players separate themselves in the Carlton forward line and ready to resume duty. Beautiful tap. Taylor down to Rioli. Got it off to Sewell. High inside the 50. Roughhead hit the pack. Didn't mark. Snap from Moss. Needs a pretty good bounce from out near the boundary. It stays on the flat side of the ball and keeps its line out of play.
Oh, Rioli in midfield was absolutely fantastic.
Deep forward for Hawthorn. At the throw-in, Roughhead to compete against Cruiser. The forward leans into the ruckman, did a reasonable job. Murphy, though, comes up with a footy for the Blues. Hand pass to Waite. Ordinary kick across the face of goal. Just floats its way to Thornton. Hand pass to Judd. He runs it out now to Scotland. Kicks out wide for Betts. Defensive side of the wing. You look up the broadcast side. Carazzo was on briefly and still good enough for Betts to steer the pass in his direction. Sideways he goes to Armfield, nearly releasing the loose man in Gibbs. The hand pass wasn't great. Rioli put the pressure on. Ball spills to Judd. Hand passed over his shoulder to Joseph. Sets it up long inside the 50. Stevens has got to go. He has it. Hand pass Fevola in the pocket. Bouncing ball. Sits up. Gets there. What a start by Brendan Fevola, who flexes his muscles and pumps out his chest to the crowd. 2 goals Carlton, 1 goal Hawthorn, 8.5 gone.
What a super goal set up by Waite, who refused to give the ball away in the back pocket. He stood there and waited and couldn't find someone. All of a sudden we thought he'd messed up his kick, but the good work down there, a few little shepherds, a couple of blocks. They're now learning how to play this way, now learning how to help each other, and some good run by his Scotland. And all of a sudden Stevens, quick hands, and Judd's beautiful handball in the middle of the ground. Most people wouldn't have even seen it, but Judd did. Hit one 25 metres in front of them. Really good play. They moved the ball from one end to the other without the opposition touching it. Little victory for the Blues.
Well, Fevola, he kicked 7 against the Hawks in round 22 last year, but came up 1 short of a ton. Where was that goal when he was looking for the 100? What a goal that was. Bounce in the middle. Won by Renner for Hawthorn. Wiggins bursts through, goes without the ball though. Lewis gets a hand pass out to Dowler. Dowler sees some daylight through a heap of players in midfield. He kicks towards half forward, disappointing disposal, and diving in is Waite to take the mark close to the ground, just outside defensive 50 for the Blues. Kick by Waite out towards unmanned territory. Centre wing, Murphy takes the mark, draws a man, hand passes to Gibbs, but they came to Gibbs. Ball bunted on by Joseph and goes out of play, forward of the wing. Great Southern stand side. This is a big crowd. They're sitting in the top row of the grandstands, a massive crowd. I'm sure we'll break the record for all Carlton Hawthorn games through over 100 years. Hawthorn 1 goal, Carlton 2 goals.
Boundary throw in near enough to the wing. Judd is taken with it as soon as it dropped. He had no chance to get rid of it.
This is a high quality contest. You can see the tackling's high, the run's high, the pace is full on.
Pressure around the ball, excellent. O'Halpin is in the ruck. He knocks it down. There's no way through though. There'd be 14 players at ground level contesting the ball. And Gibbs couldn't find a path. So they'll try again. Each player had an extra man up and the ball falls down to Stevens. He switches play out into the middle, did it well, but Russell couldn't gather. He went round his laces and got away. Mitchell has it for the Hawks. Open forward line to work with. Kicks it out wide, wider than he would have intended. Williams has it against the boundary, 55 out. He centres the ball for Morton. It was too hot for him. He's in a scrap with Jamison at ground level. Morton turns tackler, retrieves the situation and gets it back to a level playing field of a bounce, 50 out from the Hawthorn goal.
Carlton 2 goals, Hawthorn 1. 11.5 minutes played. Ball tapped down in a big pack. Bursting through is Gibbs. Loses it to Sewell of Hawthorn. A high ball towards the goal square. They set themselves. Oh, wait. There's a bad bounce. It bounces away from goal for the Hawks. Bowers in there on his backside. Gets the hand pass back. Thornton clears for the Blues. Outside defensive 50. Mark's taken by Houlihan. His hand pass is blocked by Mitchell. Spills to Armfield, though. He fires out a hand pass to Waite, who kicks over the wing. A disappointing disposal. He copped one a minute ago and gave one up here. The mark taken by Hodge of Hawthorn. Eddie Betts gets in there and wins a ball that was never his. Following up, Cruiser works hard at ground level, but a hand pass out by Mitchell. Finishes up with Dowler. Half-distance pass, and the mark is taken by Bateman. He plays on with a hand pass to Mitchell. Across the ground he comes to Murphy, who takes the mark inside the centre square, about 20 metres behind the circles. His hand pass into the circles didn't hit a target, but running onto it is Tuck. Poor old kick towards half forward. Going down there is Morton. He's swamped. The umpire will ball this up. It is at half forward for the Hawks. The Blues lead 2-1, and we're approaching the 13-minute mark of the opening term.
Drewy, pressure with a capital P at the moment.
It's a hard footy to win and
harder to get rid of
when you do. Houlihan's clean bowled by this one, and Mitchell skirting through, gives his hand pass to Osborne, who goes backward to Dowler and sideways to Sewell. Wants to set it up inside the 50. At the back of the pack is Brown, but there was an illegal push. Brown took the mark, but Roughhead had cleared the way by dumping Thornton, and it is the fullback's free kick. Into the pocket for Judd. Judd looks outside the defensive 50. Armfield's made a good lead, and the kick is right there for him. Bentley runs over the top. He goes a little bit longer, though. Down the line to Simpson. He brings it now into Bentley. Kicks to half forward. Just enough on it to clear the defence. Carazzo sweeps it to Scotland. He can have a shot from 35 and put it through. The Blues have the force at their back for now. 3-1. Middle stages of the opening term.
Well, just great ball movement, and I'm just thinking to myself, how they just seem to have loose blokes everywhere, Carlton, and I look down, the reason why? Hawthorn had made 2 interchanges. They had 2 men come off that 30, and I look up and there's 2 Hawthorn players sprinting from this side of the ground, trying to get the other side of the ground where the ball was coming in, and they were always being outnumbered. It came to Scotland, cut back on his left foot. He's a wonderful player, Scotland, because he's used to the footy, either foot, left or right. That time on his left, and he just knocked through a lovely goal. And I tell you what, they're very, very important goals in this game because it is being played with the pressure like a final.
Bounce in the middle. Cruiser up early, wins the hit out, but it's sharked by Sewell of the Hawks. He's dragged down the good tackle. Whitecross scoops it off the Dewar. There's O'Halpin's gone through recklessly and collected a Hawthorn player high front on. And Tuck will take a free kick alongside the circles. Sprays the ball out wide, and it'll come back. It wasn't Tuck's to take. Jared Morton with the free kick for the Hawks. Kick by Morton. He might be a bit wobbly because it was a wobbly old kick. On the bounce, though, finishes up with Williams at half forward. Kick by Mark Williams inside the 50, all Hawthorn. Knocked down to Judd. Hand pass to O'Halpin, the Irishman. Back to Judd, who weaves through a pack. His hand pass somehow gets out of that pack to Scotland. Fantastic, Chris Judd. Scotland off the left. Kicks wide to half forward. Carazzo drops a mark he should have gobbled. Plays on once regathering. He kicks towards the 50. On the bounce. Poor one there for Russell. And it's taken by Whitecross just inside the line of the back pocket. Gets the hand pass to Guerra. Guerra's kick out into open country. This is what Hawthorn are so good at doing. The mark taken by Williams. He kicks to Roughhead, centre wing.
Roughhead has a look forward. Campbell Brown is on the lead. He checks the kick instead and brings it back inboard to Tuck, who sold himself into trouble by dropping the mark. He needs some help. Taylor arrives. Hand pass to Williams. The Hawks do go forward, but not with any aplomb. And he's picked out Waite, who switches play immediately back to the members' side for Cruiser. Works the hand pass out, and he'll get it back from Wiggins. Tried to float it back in that direction. Bouncing ball, Simpson. Gobbled up by Rioli, who almost forced the turnover, not quite. Joseph gets it out. Back to the wing. Houlihan on to Murphy. Carefully onto the left boot. Russell, one-hander. Clever grab, lunging toward the boundary.
Gee, they're playing well, the Blues.
Russell goes deep inside the 50. Fevola kept away from the contest. He's going to be the crummer instead to Houlihan. Carazzo, snap from the pocket, needs a bounce, hit the posts.
Oh, he'd be worrying Hawthorn though, Carazzo, wouldn't he? He's got the roll on Judd, but he's just accumulating a lot of possessions. Hodge, sorry, yeah.
13, Kelly Underwood.
Yes, Eddie Betts has come off. He was limping, favouring the left leg. The doctors are having a look at a knee problem at the moment. And Cade Simpson also come off. He got crunched in a contest a few moments ago and looks a little ginger on the boundary line.
Murphy receives from Campbell. Murphy gives it out to Guerra. A beautiful scything left foot pass to half forward. Buddy Franklin's on the end of it. 60 metres out from goal. He steers the pass to Roughhead. Oh, good stretch overhead, but he dropped the mark. The umpire paid the mark. Oh, no.
He second-guessed.
Gee whiz, didn't even pay a free kick for hands. He just paid that mark, which clearly wasn't a mark. Bit lucky here, the Hawks. Roughhead going for his second goal and Hawthorn's second. Carlton lead 3-1 to a goal. The inside 50s favour the Hawks, actually 9-6. Roughhead. Oh, that is a magnificent kick. 2 straight for Roughhead. Hawthorn 2 goals, Carlton 3 goals 1, and we've played 18 minutes.
Well, they continue to fight, the Hawks. They're actually being beaten in the contest. They've been tough at it. They've been strong. The pressure's been sensational over the ground. Roughhead's got free down there because they have such an open forward line. They've pushed up the ground. They've left that space. But Franklin took his time, just took an easy mark on his own, then curled around and just chopped the pass up. Didn't take the mark, Roughhead, but that doesn't matter. He was paid. He went back and kicked. Now he has 2, and here's a problem.
Kelly Underwood.
Plenty happening on the Blues bench. Carazzo's gone down into the rooms. It looks like he got a corky in the thigh. Brendan Fevola's come off for a breather, and Eddie Betts has had some treatment to his left knee. He appears okay.
Carlton by 7 points at the bounce. Taylor rushed at it and has given away the free kick to Cruiser for a push.
O'Halpin's gone forward for the Blues.
Cruiser sneaks it out the back to Houlihan, sets it up for Bentley, charging at half forward. He dived in but didn't complete the mark, and Dowler makes him pay. Whisks it away for the Hawks. Works his hand pass out now to Morton. He got himself into an awful bind. Roughhead trying to save the day. He's pitted against Houlihan. Roughhead worked it out to Tuck. Inside the 50, wide for Franklin and Bauer. And Bauer comes over the top to make the spoil and find the safety of the boundary. 40 metres out from the Hawthorn goal, attacking the city end in this opening term. Cruiser uncontested in the ruck. He's knocked it straight down to Franklin. Dodges one. Hand passed out the back of the pack to Lewis, who's happy to give away plenty of ground. Back to Morton. He places a kick to the goal kicker. It's Jared Roughhead again, and he is within range.
Oh, distance, no problem.
Mark is set at 48. Roughhead is in the groove. All of Hawthorn's score so far. Roughhead gets close to the man on the mark, sets it on its way, and the goal umpire never moves. He is on Jared Roughhead. 3 straight, and it's a 1-point ball game. The Blues lead.
Well, he certainly is on, and he's making the most of it because a lot of focus obviously going on Franklin around the ground, everything like that. But it's just been Roughhead, absolutely sensational at this point of time. Thornton's been the man on him, but I think Thornton's a little bit too conscious about trying to fill holes rather than really playing shoulder to shoulder on Roughhead. And I think that the message will be out very, very shortly. Just get onto your man at this point of time and keep him honest.
Blues lead by a point, 3-1 to 3 goals. Kelly Underwood.
Well, it was Cade Simpson that went down into the rooms. Looked like it was a corky, but he's back out on the ground. So good news for him and the Blues. Jardin Fevola still on the bench having a breather.
4 marks, 6 possessions, 3 goals to Roughhead. In the middle, Simon Taylor wins it. Down to Bateman, hand pass back into a pack. The Hawks have it. Dowler's been prominent early. Gets his hand pass away to Osborne. His hand pass to the bullseye on the ground, taken by Bateman. He kicks to half forward. Osborne had run on and takes the mark near the front edge of the centre square. Plays on quickly, down towards the pocket, in the direction of Williams. Punch comes over the top and towards the boundary line from Waite. Out of play, and we'll have a throw-in. Carlton 3-1, lead Hawthorn 3 goals, and we're at the 21.5-minute mark of the opening quarter.
Boundary throw-in. Cruiser wins front position and the tap. Our Halpin was there for first possession. Shot it off to Simpson. Gives it to Murphy. Gave it to Simpson, should say. Spoil was made to the kick up the wing. Murphy had to get in and do it again to Cruiser. They flip it around. Judd has it near the boundary. Wrong-footed an opponent coming at him. Kicked it for Russell. Guerra came with the flight, made the spoil. Cruiser follows up. 2 really good touches at ground level. Bentley even better to Carazzo. Released Wiggins. Cloak's got a one-on-one with Murphy. Bounced off his chest. Cloak follows on. And Halpin's right with him, and so was Stevens, and Cloak couldn't use the numbers. That is a big miss by Cloak.
He saw it was O'Halpin. He didn't give it to him.
Hodge, he used Campbell on the way out. The Hawks have got it to the wing for Bateman. He's got a runner on the overlap. It's Osborne. Runs it to half forward. Sets it up in the Roughhead direction. Too strong for him. Waite took the mark, and he'll get a 50 for the coat hanger that followed.
When a bloke gives you a whack, kicks you in the backside in pre-season, you can't really expect the hand pass.
That was terrible by Cloak.
He dropped the chest mark. That was one that was terrible. The rest of it, he's a 6'6" man. It's not that easy to do, but the chest mark was horrible.
Here's Jared Waite in midfield. A zooming pass onto the midriff of Murphy, who takes the mark. Murphy's pass, not much worse either. But on the bounce there for Carazzo inside the 50. He becomes the tackler, Carazzo. The ball spills free, goes to Wiggins. Losing ground in possession, the Blues. Hand pass back to Gibbs. His kick smothered by Sewell, who takes clean possession. Fires the hand pass to Tuck. This game isn't letting anybody down. Tuck gets the hand pass to Dowler. The youngster, couple of bounces, gets to half forward. Gets the hand pass out wide, and a little pass in by Morton towards full forward. Comes unstuck for the Hawks. Swept away by Waite. Good pass out of defence. And the mark taken by Houlihan. 3-1 to 3 goals. Blues lead by a point. Kick by Houlihan over the top. Waite had run on and takes the return. Waite at half-back flank. Up to the wing. Wiggins takes the mark in front of his face. In the shadows. Short pass to Carazzo. Playing just his second game of the season. Andrew Carazzo. Prolific ball winner for the Blues, and has been again today, even despite a spell in the rooms. Kick by Carazzo to the 50. Punched away, but the ball gets behind Renoff. Still in play. Mitchell works it to Lewis. Lewis across the ground, and Dowler gets it again. He takes his umpteenth mark. Kicks towards the far side of the ground, and the mark is taken by Moss.
Moss delivers for Bateman, who's in a duel here with Joseph. Joseph used the body well, got rid of his opponent, and has support. Thornton brings it now to Judd. Judd had a look out wide and stayed on the wing. Simpson presents for him. Judd follows up. Simpson gives it back. Judd to half forward. Penetrating ball. Fevola from the side. Lewis camped himself bravely underneath it and controlled it beautifully. Lewis brings it to half back for Dew. He takes pause, delivers up the line to Roughhead. He's at right half back on this occasion, and he wants to give everybody a breather. It's been end-to-end pulsating footy. Oh, Mitchell spilt the chest mark. He has to hand pass it back to Roughhead. Floats it out the back for Murphy. Murphy kicks across the 50, not without an element of risk, but Lewis is there before Fevola can overcommit and allowed Lewis out. He kicks to the wing. Williams marks and gives it on to Dowler. Closing on half forward. Campbell Brown's the target in the pocket. He got it. Two grabber. Beautiful movement of the footy from Lewis at half back, who was given the saloon run out. Brown plays on and swings it through. The Hawks reclaim the lead. Took them a while to the 26-minute mark of the opening term, but they have 4 straight to Carlton's 3-1.
And you make a mistake into that defensive area, and they'll just switch Hawthorn. We'll see it time and again. And this quarter, I mean, Dowler's just been fantastic. Might say you got easy kicks, but he's had, what's that, Jared? How many? He's had 10 possessions. And you know why? Because the young man's putting himself in a position to get the footy, and he's given them great rebound. It's all been through the outer southern side of the ground, getting the ball in quickly, and that time it just got in, and Brown able to do a one-on-one. Very good. 2 grabber, but very good mark, and kick the goal. And it's just amazing, because about 12 minutes ago, you thought that the Blues had got control of this game, but the great Hawks, they're back into it.
Bounce in the middle, comes to Rioli. Haven't seen much of him so far, but a beautiful left foot kick inside the 50. Oh, what a mark by Roughhead, who is playing the game of his life. He's hauled in a one-hander. O'Halpin had him by one arm, and Roughhead, who's already kicked 3, has plucked this one-handed and is lining up for his 4th. He's virtually right in front and only 35 metres out from goal. Why wouldn't he kick his 4th? There goes the shot off the left. What a quarter by Jared Roughhead. 4 goals straight. The Hawks are 5 straight. Carlton 3-1.
Roughhead's had 8 possessions, 6 marks and 4 marks inside 50. What a terrific quarter he's had. Four goals for the quarter. You don't get much better than that. But it's come from good service. Good service from their midfield, who've banged it long, given and trust their tall forward in Roughhead. They do now, and they would for the rest of the game. He's on O'Halpin. He just pushed him off beautifully. It was just a little shove, just got him out of the way, and he had the one hand, looked like he had a pin in it. The ball just stuck straight on it. It was one grab, one hand. Terrific stuff, Roughhead, but the midfield have been giving him great service.
Mark McClure on grandstand AFL. Hawthorn by 11 after Carlton led by as many as 13. Cruiser and Renoff in the ruck together. No effective tap. Cruiser's after the ball at ground level. He knocked it to Judd in a tackle. Hand pass just flipped out to the side, taken by Armfield. He gives it off to O'Halpin, brings it to the broadcast wing. Russell went one-handed. Mitchell came at him. Oh, big win by the Hawks skipper. Took it away. Gave it to Roughhead out in the wing. Good smother by O'Halpin. Desperate stuff. Wins it back for the Blues. Gibbs off to Armfield. Cloak leads up in the centre square. He marks. Wants to go. They've got 2 on 2. Favola's in front of Campbell. Oh, Robbie Campbell got rid of Fevola. Controlled it beautifully. And brings it out to halfback. Morton will take it on the second bounce. Has a look up the southern wing. Wanting it long as Williams. That's the direction in which it goes. He was behind the whole way and Thornton out-muscled him.
Thornton happy to be off Roughhead.
As you would.
What a game this is. Gee, Roughhead and Campbell have got 4 hands between them, but they only bothered to use 2. Kick out towards centre wing, very wide, looking for Russell. But a good spoil by Guerra. Sees the ball over the boundary line. Centre wing, great southern stand side. Great crowd, terrific game of football. And an 11-point lead to the Hawks, who've kicked 5 straight. Taylor wins in ruck. But Stevens sharks it for the Blues. Hand pass back to Simpson. Little underground pass taken by Gibbs. His hand pass too high for Murphy. Bunted down by Mitchell, but Murphy gathers, gets his hands free. Well played. He was held, said the umpire. Free kick to Murphy. He goes quickly. And the mark taken by Bentley, former Port Adelaide player. First game for the Blues. 65 from goal. Thumps it long and high. Fevola! Oh, yes. Good mark. But he's tied out in the boundary, out in the right forward pocket. And he'll have to kick after the siren, looking for his second goal. Well, we came here thinking Fevola and Franklin would be the stars. Roughhead has been the star for the Hawks with 4 straight goals. But Fevola can have 2 by quarter time if he nails this. Tight angle, only 20 metres out. Banana. Plenty of Hawks fans there. They cheered. They did all the cheering. They cheered the miss. So Carlton go in at quarter time. 3 goals, 2, trailing by 10. Hawthorn 5 goals straight. So it's 30 plays 20 with Hawthorn in charge. Roughhead 4 straight. Campbell Brown kicked 1. And for Carlton, goals to Fevola, Scotland.
They got to lift through their midfield. I'm sure they must have been challenged amongst themselves. They left their game from that point of view, but then they started to play the game they wanted to. And it's that switch, getting the footy out of defence. And they just kept the ball time and again, switch it to the southern side of the ground, especially using young Dowler, and they went in and they had a focal point, didn't they? That was Roughhead. Roughhead was just absolutely superb. As I said, started on Thornton, kicked 3 on Thornton, and at that point of time, the Blues said, no, we've had enough. And O'Halpin went to him, but he couldn't stop him. And 4 goals in the quarter. He really's been the difference. He's been the difference. You know, take him out of it, and it's just been one exciting game of footy.
Absolutely. And Brett Ratnaby saying, play your role. Understand your role, play it. Continue to apply pressure, because that was fantastic in that quarter. It was well done. The little things will count. Work the mark well. You saw what Hawthorn did. They continued to work the mark, block 3 or 4 handballs over the top, turned them into goals. Continue to do that. Do not assume. Mitchell dropped a mark there. They assumed he was going to take it, and they let him go. And those little things count a whole of a lot. We're too short with our foot skills. We're too short with our handball skills. We need to lengthen our kick, lengthen our sights to look at other people. The Hawks, they must win the midfield contest, Clarkson would say. Continue to win there. Get back in defence and help, because the Blues have been very good at getting in there. Don't give them a break. Just keep at them and at them, at them. They'll turn it over and they'll give it back to you if you keep doing that. And your work on the mark was just absolutely outstanding. He'd be driving that home.
Kelly Underwood.
Well, just a couple of concerns for the Blues in that first quarter. Eddie Betts came off. He had his left knee looked at. He's had it strapped, and he'll start this second quarter. Of more concern is Cade Simpson. He came off with a corky, went down into the rooms. He's had his right thigh heavily strapped. He's going to start this second quarter on the bench, but the coach, Brett Ratton, just ran past him as he was heading back up into the box, and I saw Simpson give him the big thumbs up. So you would presume it wouldn't be only take a few minutes before he's keen to get back out onto the ground.
Thanks, Kelly. Some of the stats to quarter time. Bo Dowler, who was the number 6 pick in the 2005 draft, he came to them injured. They've spent a lot of time, well, they've waited a long while to get him up. This is just his 6th game, even though he's drafted in 2005. 11 possessions in the first quarter. Roughhead, 6 marks, 9 possessions, 4 goals. Mitchell, 8. Sewell, 8. Williams, 8. Lewis, 8. For the Blues, Judd has 9. Murphy, 9. Carazzo, 7. Gibbs and Cruiser 7, and Jared Waits had 8 possessions. The inside 50s favour the Hawks 15-12. The centre clearances to the Hawks 5-3. The marks to the Hawks 28-26. Free kicks are Carlton's way 6-1. 6-1. And in ruck it's 9-8 in favour of the Blues. A 10-point lead to Hawthorn on the scoreboard. As we start the second quarter, here's Jared Waitley.
Hawthorn to the punt road end to end this term, and the tap was not really to any advantage. Murphy did the hard work, got it to Judd, off to Cruiser. The Blues go forward first. High up near Fevola. Spoil put on by Robert Campbell. Carazzo's after the crumb. Hand pass was intended for Betts, and he got it. He had to spin away from Jew to win it. Kicks it to Fevola. Drop the mark, and Mitchell will come away with it. Hand pass to Rioli. Pressure bearing down. Rioli and Armfield scrap for it at ground level. It'll be bounced.
Fevola's taken one on the hooter. He's down on all 4s at the moment.
Interesting one for me too, Drew. Thornton has been challenged by his coach and gone back to Roughhead.
Half forward for the Blues. Give it to Cruiser, the tap. Rioli came flying out the side of the pack. Nothing happened thereafter. And we will go again. Fevola just wiping at the eyes with a towel. Taylor the tap this time. Moss is trying to get through. He got taken high by Stevens, had his head down and drew the contact.
And ironic cheers for the free kick, and the kick comes out wide, but the mark's taken on centre wing here for the Blues by Joseph towards half forward. It's worked in towards the 50, scooped off the deck by Williams for Hawthorn. Concedes a little bit of ground, back to Moss and on to Morton, who loses it. Stevens a chance for the Blues. Great contests everywhere going on. Bateman a good little hand pass. Mitchell a little left foot poke out of there, but the mark taken by Waite on centre wing. 5 goals straight Hawthorn. 3-2 Carlton. 30 plays 20. Opening minute or 2 of the second quarter. And a delightful pass by Waite is marked by Scotland. 2 kicks to goal. Kick by Scotland. Down towards the pocket. Fevola with the sit. But the punch from the man in front. Taylor gets it away from him. Out of bounds. Throw in forward pocket.
Drummers get around it. Betts is on the goal side of the pack. Judd stays the defensive side for the throw-in. Cruiser against Taylor. Cloak is the third man up for the Blues, trying to get it down to Betts. Mitchell was awake to that. Rioli couldn't handle it. Cruiser wins it back. Hand pass to Judd at the 50. Now to Stevens. Long range shot is his go, and he is up to the task. From right half forward, Nick Stevens with a penetrating shot at goal. The Blues cut the margin to 4. 4-2 to 5 straight after 3 minutes of the second term.
Stevens may have kicked, and it was a beautiful kick, and that's his go. Can he get it? But how good are you, Chris Judd? How good are you? Come through the pack, grab the ball, hit it 25 metres sideways and put a bloke in space on his own. Steve-O just went, how good's this? I got no one near me. Ran straight into goal. Juddy, you are a champ.
Oh, Mark McClure, there is love in the air here.
I don't think it's just me. I think the whole world's there.
Especially if they wear your colours. That was sensational. 4 points the margin. 30-26 Hawthorn. The bounce. One in the middle by Taylor. Rove by Rioli, who slips down. Concedes some ground with a hand pass back to Sewell, who's pinned by Houlihan. No prior opportunity. Says, give it to me. Umpire McLaren here today with Dean Margetts and Jason Armstrong. Umpires in red. There's the bounce by McLaren. Taylor guides it down. Judd, a little hand pass out of there. Wiggins bowled over, taken by Dowler. His hand pass is knocked down. Wiggins gets a hand pass to Judd. Judd one way then the other. Throws it on the boot towards half forward. Chopped off by Taylor. His hand pass is a bit too severe, but mopped up by Sewell. Hand pass to Dowler. Is he playing a game? Kicked by Dowler out wide, but nobody there for Hawthorn. Armfield gets back for the Blues together. Hand pass to Murphy, back to Armfield. Running along the boundary line. In he comes to Houlihan. He had to stoop for the hand pass. Wasn't the best. Hand pass to Waite. Waite cornered on the boundary line and takes it over. Well done by Bateman. And that'll be a boundary throw-in. True centre wing. Hawthorn 5 goals. Carlton 4 goals too. 4.5 minutes played, second term.
Hooked back into play. Cruiser camps himself in front. Wins the tap. And Lewis was coming through for the Hawks. Hand pass to Moss under pressure. He gave it up. Murphy was happy to pinch it away. His kick falls short though at half forward. And Dowler in it again. He takes the mark and kicks it for Rioli. He threatens to run the corridor and then brings it out to the broadcast side instead. Williams takes the mark at the logo. He'll go with a 3/4 distance pass up near Campbell Brown, who was outnumbered. Fell for Waite. Gives his hand pass over the top. Just Jamison had support. He needed it too through Joseph. Got it back and now to Waite. The Blues come off half back. Waite's kicked to a 3-on-1. Wiggins made a reasonably good attempt at it. Hodge held him off though and the numbers went out. Morton for the Hawks, back to Taylor, on to Dowler, defensive 50. They give more ground now to Mitchell, who turns forward and kicks it to Taylor. Taylor has a look up the field. He brings it out wide to Whitecross against the boundary when he takes the mark. Has a bit of a run, almost lost his direction. Hand pass to Taylor, pushed off Wade, gave it hospital ball. Scotland had his man cold. The umpire takes pity. Gave him a lot of time, but Gibbs pulls it out for the Blues. Kicks to half forward. Houlihan and Mitchell, shoulder to shoulder. Loose hand pass by Whitecross. Judd in pursuit. He has it. He holds it. He gives it to Betts. He's brought down. Oh, there's no room in which to move. Hodge trying to find a way out for the Hawks.
Wonderful contest. Bateman gives it and goes. Gets it back. Gives it to Sewell. Has a bounce. Approaches the wing. Sewell pulls it up and kicks it across the ground, which is good. The mark taken by Williams. Mark Williams inside the centre square. 30 plays 26. A 4-point lead to the Hawks. Williams waits for the right option. He kicks to half forward. Lewis waits at the back. Murphy flew for it, missed it. Hand pass comes forward to Dew. Off the left, a glorious kick by Dew for a goal. Just like he did in the grand final last year, and he comes straight to the bench.
Well, I'd love to be able to describe for you out there how fantastic that bit of football that went on some 20 metres out from the Carlton goals. The pressure by both sides was absolutely magnificent. And in the finish, Hawthorn prevailed with absolutely magnificent quick hands to release and get the ball up and through the midfield. Then it was a matter of holding your nerve till the ball came up. Lewis, a great bit of effort to hold his ground and get it to Dew, and it was just a tracer bullet from there on. He looked up, he must have been 50 metres out, and he just lobbed it on the left foot, and it went only about head high right through.
Hawks by 10 points. Cruiser wins the tap in the middle, but Rioli bursting through the middle. Kicks for Franklin. Bauer comes at him, makes the spoil. Bateman the crumb from deep in the pocket. Misses to the near side. Rioli is threatening at those centre bounces. The Hawks, their first miss of the day, 6-1 to 4-2.
Kick in finds Thornton in the back pocket. Bo Dowler up to 15 possessions. And we're at the 8-minute mark of the second quarter. Kick by Thornton, big pack. No mark. Comes to the side, drove by Joseph. Well done. Bounces, paddles it out in front of himself, regathers, hand pass to Carazzo. Joseph might get it back. Carazzo that goes to Eddie Betts in the pocket. Well, Murphy's back there with him to spoil. Good effort. Great efforts all over the ground. As Eddie couldn't get a grab on that ball, it'll be a throw in alongside the behind post. Carlton in attack, but an 11-point lead to the Hawks. Here's the throw in. Renouf works his way to the front. Sewell there for the Hawks. Hand pass to Tuck. Working in close quarters. Gets it to Guerra to Hodge. Hodge's kick disappointing. Joseph should have gobbled the mark. Spilled it at the back. Stevens for the Blues. Gathers. Little short pass. It's no good either. Chopped off by Lewis. Gets the hand pass away to Bateman. At half-back flank for the Hawks. Calls a halt to proceedings. Gets a hand pass down the line to Osborne. Not great. Put him under pressure. Murphy has it to Judd to Stevens. Stevens, 65 from goal. Kicks to Fevola, who slides on 2 knees and marks right in front. Players making mistakes, but they're under pressure. Under pressure all over the place. And as soon as you find some daylight, you find players like Judd and Stevens, and it's going to open up for somebody like Fevola, and Fev's kicking for his second. City end of the MCG, taking his time, having a big deep breath.
I thought you're supposed to have a certain amount of time.
It's gone
There's
past.
blood rule.
Oh, blood rule. Fair call.
Yep. So Moss comes on to replace Whitecross. And Fevola has plenty of time to set himself for this one. This is one you just cannot miss, Fev. All-Australian last year and in 2006 as well. Kicked 99 goals last season. He's got 16 this year. Fevola, drop punt. Oh, no, he had too long to think about it. He's missed it to the right-hand side. Carlton 4-3, trail Hawthorn 6-1.
Won't get many easier than that. He's just served up a magnificent pass and he squandered it.
10-point margin. Hodge to kick in. He's told he has to do so now. Rioli makes the lead for him. Take it out to the southern side of the ground where he's got numbers working for him. Murphy's hand pass wasn't great to Dowler. By the time he got near it, Bentley was in pursuit and he was happy to see it out of play. So the Hawks break down at half-back. Blues with a chance to put some forward pressure on at the throw-in. Renouf at the front for the Hawks. He won the tap, but Cloak is in pursuit of the ball. He laid a good shepherd. Allowed Stevens to come through. Kicked it up to Simpson, who had to play on against the boundary, and Rioli stole the footy from him. Hand pass to Murphy and on to Mitchell and back to Rioli. He's gone almost to full back. He'll complete the movement of play to the members' side. Guerra dropped the mark and it's 2-on-1 against him. Scotland for the Blues. They reset. Hand pass to Betts. Betts runs to 55. Kicks to the teeth of goal. Fevola and Campbell, it cleared them. Bounced the wrong side of the post though. Behind to Betts and a 9-point lead for the Hawks.
Mitchell kicks in quickly. Sewell takes the mark. Approaching the 12-minute mark of the second quarter. And a 9-point lead to the Hawks. Carlton have had 8 scoring shots to 7. But they've kicked 4-4 to 6-1. The kick up towards half-back flank. And a good effort by Arnfield. Sees the ball over the boundary line.
Great work by Carlton all over the ground. They put the pressure on. Hawthorn couldn't find a loose man. Just had to kick the ball in the air. And well done, Carlton. Kept it in.
Cloak in ruck. Works down to the front to Judd. He gets it going goalwards. Chopped off by Mitchell on defensive 50 to Sewell. Beautiful hand pass. Here's Franklin working deep in defence to Dowler, back to Franklin. Franklin kicks across the half-back line. Could be dangerous. Bauer comes in, takes the mark about 55 metres out from goal.
They won't let them out. They just refuse to let them out.
Bauer centres the ball into Carazzo. He might be further from goal. Carazzo across the half-forward flank, or half-forward line, and the mark is taken by Gibbs. Gibbs advances the ball a little bit out in the sunshine. They've gone from right half-forward to left half-forward. Stevens has it. Hoists it high. They need a big mark in the pack. Fevola is there. It gets to the back, but there's too many Brown and Golds. Guerra gets the hand pass back, and they're out of defence from Moss to Williams.
Williams is camped at left half-back. Carlton Wall is set up ahead of him. They've been trapped here for a number of minutes now, Hawthorn. Williams spears the ball to Tuck. He's outside the 50. Can they advance the cause further, though? Tuck sideways to Dowler, to Mitchell. Had the ball knocked out of his hands by Betts, but the skipper got back on it. He wins it out to half-back for Murphy. Took a little while to gather it in. Murphy looks up the southern side and has nothing to go to. He kicks long. Rioli and Simpson shoulder to shoulder. Rioli knocked it, trying to get back. Simpson beat him to it. The Blues will win it off the back. Cloak kicks to the wing. Murphy closed down Stevens, and the ball is out of play. Contested ball everywhere it goes. Middle stages of the second term on Grandstand AF.
The inside 50s this quarter, Carlton 8-2. So Carlton getting it down there, but this below-strength Hawthorn defence is standing up. Be a ball up near centre wing.
It's not just the inside 50, it's the time inside 50. Those 8s are just a massive amount of time being kept in there as Hawthorn desperately trying to get out, but it's fantastic pressure by the Blues.
Knocked down to Judd, shrugs himself free. Hand pass to Gibbs, off to Scotland. Hand pass wide to Houlihan. Half-distance pass up to Stevens, who beats his man at ground level. Hand pass to Judd, cruising past. His pass to Fevola. Oh, wouldn't you love it? And Fevola takes the mark, streaming straight up the corridor, 40 metres from goal.
Unless you saw it, you wouldn't believe it. He couldn't call it. Just brilliant.
The way he's broken clear, then just set the ball up. Fevola actually held his a fraction, then accelerated in the ball. The defender had no hope of touching it, cutting it off.
Judd comes to the bench to rapturous applause from the Carlton fans. What a player. Fevola for his second, 45 from goal. This time he's kicked it. Carlton 5-4, Hawthorn 6 goals won, and the Blues within 3 points at the 15.5-minute mark of the second quarter.
Well, they finally got some reward for the hard work. They continued to pressure. They continued to apply. They would not let the Hawthorn side pass the middle of the ground at any stage, and they deserved that goal. Fev missed an easy one. He wasn't going to miss that one. He put that through, but Stevens has been outstanding. Murphy's been good. Judd has been just unreal, and they just continue to keep pushing it back in. Their forwards continue to chase, tackle, and do the things that make you a very good side. This is a great game of football. This is one of the real beauties of our game. Great day at the MCG. Two sides at peak.
That's Judd's 7th possession for the quarter. Every one of them has been a gem.
Hawthorn by 3 points. Cloak is in the ruck. He knocks it down to Murphy, gives it off to Russell. Hand pass to Gibbs. Wants to play the corridor inside the 50. Hodge camped himself in front. Took the mark before they were bearing down upon him. Kicks out to halfback. Williams takes it on the bounce. Hand pass in the defensive area for Whitecross. Plays the southern wing. Good work by Gibbs. He beat Moss there. Has support as well from Bentley. Back it goes now. Steering the pass up to half forward. Carazzo couldn't mark. Trying to spin out. Armfield's got it. No, it's Bentley who's got it. 52 out. Fevola in the square. Wrestling. Extra numbers come for the Hawks. And Morton smashes it through. Or the rush behind. 2 points the Hawks lead.
Well, I saw Gary Ablett last Sunday, and to see Judd here today, just been absolutely blessed. Kick in, comes to Osborne, who's cruising, a couple of bounces, cornered by Wiggins, but has a third bounce, gets to the wing, hand pass to Bateman under pressure. That was the wrong option, and Bateman said, thanks for nothing. Ball finishes up out of play, right below us here. Interchange gate centre wing.
I've just worked out the best way to stop Roughhead. Don't let the footy go down to him. And that's what Carlton have done this quarter. Haven't let it get near him.
Yeah. Throw-ins, one by Taylor. Taken by Bentley. Terrific hand pass to Stevens. Kick by Nick Stevens down the line. Bounces out at half forward. So the Blues are down there in attack again. And they're stone cold on the Hawthorn forward line in this second quarter. The Hawks 37-35. This quarter, Hawthorn have kicked 1-1 and Carlton have kicked 2 goals 3.
Boundary throw in. The Blues looking to push it deep forward again. There's nothing from this though. The ball almost was released for Guerra to steal, but called to bounce. Kelly Underwood.
Cade Simpson started this second quarter on the bench with a cork thigh. He's come on for a little bit of run, but off again. He's certainly not 100%.
Cloak won the tap, but Moss is after the ball for the Hawks. His hand pass to a dangerous position where Mitchell is brought down by the aforementioned Simpson.
Interesting game plan that they got here. They're just keeping him in there. They're pushing numbers out, just holding it up, and then all of a sudden they whack it back in there and try and win a free kick or get an easy one.
Cloak and Cruiser both fly. Good tap. Betts almost got through. Fevola kicked it out. Betts is still after it. Oh, it took a cruel bounce up and over his head. And Murphy gets the reprieve. Morton hand passed it to him. They bring it to half-back for Whitecross, and Bateman is on around the southern wing. It will surely be a venture forward. He has a bounce and delivers to Williams right onto the chest. 70 out. Now for the Stone Cold forwards. Roughhead's in front. Thornton jumps with him. Off hands, the Blues have numbers. Thornton excellent. Hand pass away to White. Ordinary kick. Too high for Murphy. Tucks a chance at half forward. Russell got all over his back. Free kick to Travis Tuck at centre half forward.
Little hand pass out the back. Due a hand pass to Brown. Hand pass to Moss. Steers a little pass inside the 50, and the mark's been taken by Osmond. And Judd just back on the ground says, "Curses," because Osmond was about half a step in front of him. Michael Osmond not far off centre and kicking the goal at the punt road end of the MCG. The Hawks lead by 2 points in a crackerjack game. 3rd and 9th on the ladder. The Premier's 9th. Osmond's kick is good. Straight through the hey diddle diddle. And the Hawks go to 7-1, leading the Blues 5 goals 5 at the 20-minute mark of the second quarter.
Well, it was 19 minutes before, I think, the first time that they've really been able to break open Hawthorn, and it was because Bateman finally, because super hard running, starting in the middle of the ground, he just took off like a hare and ran to the outer side and was able to get the footy. And it was the first time they were able to break through Hawthorn and just disorganise that defensive area. The ball came out again, then just keeping your head cool. Osmond dropping in the hole. He'd done some great work just earlier on this side of the ground where he'd run, stop, prop to push the ball forward. But as the boys just said, this is played like a final. This is worthy of coming to the footy to watch two sides going hammer and tong at each other.
Stan Earls on Grandstand AFL. Hawthorn by 8 points in the middle. Judd was pushed. He'll get a free kick. No, the Blues, well, they were going to take the advantage. They lost their way. So Judd will get the disposal in the middle. He's gone sideways. Kicks it to Houlihan. He links it up with Jamison, who has to send it back, and they go 1-2. Houlihan back to Jamison, who's on up the wing now. Delivers for a help and had to mark against a couple, couldn't, and then was too crude, as is his wont when he went to tackle Moss. He's given away the free kick for high contacts. Hand pass from Moss to Guerra. Careful bounce, places the kick to Robert Campbell. Gives his hand pass to Dowler. They come off half back now. The kick is for Rioli. Right with him there is Joseph. Rioli wins the ball, screws it around the body. Franklin needs to win a one-on-one against someone, anyone. He does okay here. Paddles it sideways to Dew. Long to fall forward. They all leap. Williams. Roughhead's the last man standing. And he kicks goal number 5. The pack disintegrated. Williams drew them all to him. And Roughhead was the cool head. 8-1-49 the Hawks. The Blues 5-5-35.
They finally broke back, and it was little Rioli again. Just clever play. Got in front of his man, turned him inside out a couple of times, put a good kick in. All of a sudden, a great contest at the goal by Williams. 2 or 3 players up with him. The only one who stayed down was Roughhead. Just ran into an easy goal, but real Rioli, sensational. Franklin's little tap on, just fantastic. If you're not in the game, at least the little things, just do something. We've heard that before from John Kennedy. He did something, just knocked it out in front of somebody else. Good play.
Yep, that was going to be a free kick to Williams, but it was a team goal, finished up with Roughhead, the advantage going to Ruffy. Bounce back in the middle. Palm down in the path of Cruiser, who follows up and kicks beautifully to Fevola, who marks on the 50 at about a 45-degree angle. Gee, Cruiser's the real deal. Number 1 draft pick. And a ruckman normally takes a long time to develop, mature, and oh, gee, he's the real thing right already. Fevola. Distance shouldn't worry him. He's kicked 2. Kicks from about 52 metres. Oh, look at that. Look at that, would you? What a goal right through the middle. Worth coming a long way to see. He's got half their goals. Carlton are 6-5. Hawthorn 8 goals 1.
There are the hard ways to do these things, and then there's 1 tap and 2 kicks.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But the great thing about this is that what we're seeing is that sides, as one side is being challenged, they're responding. They're just coming back and coming back again. This quarter's just been magnums. It looked as if it was all Carlton, but Hawthorn's ability to soak up the pressure and rebound, kick 2 in a row. Then what we see at the centre bounce, the big ruckman, as the boys said, tap, get it on, bang up, lovely kick there to Fevola. Fevola kicks the goal, and this game has reached wonderful heights, and more importantly, it's actually maintaining that height.
Kelly Underwood.
Just off the ball, Aaron Joseph and Roughhead going toe-to-toe. Joseph might have collected with the old jumper punch to Roughhead's face. They were going to send him off with the blood rule. He's still out there.
Carlton free kick in the middle to Cruiser. Murphy plays the advantage inside the 50. Came up short. Armfield flying snap from the 50. It'll bounce in the pocket. Sat up on its point. Eddie Betts is always dangerous. Did he get it there? No. Touched. A late lunge by Hodge.
It's got everything.
There's a free kick. It's a free kick to Eddie Betts. And
yes, he did
4
too.
metres out.
Yes, I've seen on the replay. Fair call because
Pushed in the back by Dowler.
Dowler pushed him flat in the back.
In the panic of it all, it's Eddie Betts to take the shot at goal and pull this back to a 2-point ball game. Couldn't miss. Betts does it. 2 in a row, and in no time at all for the Blues. The deficit is 2 points. 8-1 Hawthorn, 7-5 Carlton.
Good play by Armfield. Put some pressure on the opposition. Bit of old-fashioned, bang it in there and hope that something may happen. And it did. They had to give away a free kick because Eddie Betts was going to run into an open goal. It was a push in the back, and that's what happens. You apply pressure to the opposition. They give away a free kick. Betts has been dangerous. Hasn't done a lot. Got 1 for the game. But again, we see 47, the Blues, 49, the Hawks. What a game of football we've got.
Gee, we've been blessed lately. The thriller on Anzac Day. Sensational being here today.
Melbourne and Adelaide thrown in the middle of this ground.
Yes, you had the delight of that one. Here's the bounce. Oh, Cruiser up over the top again. Wins the hit out. Rode by Moss, though. Caught in a good tackle by Judd. And Judd wins the free kick for holding the ball.
Can't eat ice cream all the time, Gerald.
He's done everything, Juddy. And he kicks out wide to Nick Stevens, who marks it half forward. Little toe poke pass, and it's dropped by Carato. Probably hadn't gone the distance anyway. Play on, says the umpire. They crunch in for the ball. Oh, Simpson, fantastic effort against Mark Williams. The ball finishes up being a free kick to Simpson, about 52 metres out from goal. 2-point lead to the Hawks. Kick by Simpson off the left to the goal square. And it's all Hawthorn, and the mark taken by Renouf in defence. Played in the premiership in his 8th game last year. Short pass out, and the mark taken by Tuck. Travis Tuck, it was an emergency in the grand final. Pass at the bootlaces of Sammy Mitchell, who gathers delightfully. Back to Tuck. His hand pass is okay. They're working out by hand outside the 50 through Franklin to Roughhead. The forward's getting back to help out. Roughhead to Moss. Back to Franklin through the middle. Whack. He gets rid of Simpson. And the umpire has free kicked Franklin, the man in possession, for a fend off that was high.
Simpson with the lucky free kick to Scotland, kicks into the middle. Mitchell makes a good spoil, but Scotland has followed up. Franklin will win the footy back.
Well done, buddy.
Passes away to Moss. Hand pass to the fleet of foot. It's Williams closing on the goal front. He delivers to Roughhead, unmarked in the pocket. And Lance Franklin
well done,
to the free kick. He followed up.
That's what we talked about early days, didn't we? Your ability to stay in the game, not let your ego get there. You may lose a contest, but you can still bring great value to the team.
Jared Roughhead has kicked 5 straight. He's on the angle, 40 out. He is missing this time to the left. Just didn't quite hit that as well as the others. The margin grows, but only by a behind. 3 points the Hawks lead at the 28-minute mark.
Free kicks in the second quarter. Oh, here comes off to Roughhead, and Roughhead snaps a goal from about 15 metres. The Blues went for a short kick in, and Roughhead said thank you very much, and he's now kicked 6.
7-point play.
Yeah, well, it is. It's the old story. Is that stay alert, stay in the game, be aware and things like that. And that's what happened. It was really just a mental breakdown by the Blues with the kick in. But it was Hawthorn who were alert. They really had 3 blokes there who could have probably gobbled it up. But why wouldn't you let Roughhead? Because he's just in scintillating form, and he just was dirty on himself because he's missed the set shot, but he wasn't going to miss that one, and he just drilled it right through.
Just get the replay of the kick in and wait. Just didn't give his defenders any chance. That was awful.
Here's the bounce. Goes slightly Carlton's way off Cruiser. There's a high tackle in there, and the umpire says it's a Blues free kick to Murphy. Mark Murphy alongside the circles. 56-47. Kick by Murphy. Inside the 50. Oh, Hodge at full stretch. Great mark. Didn't pay it.
Can't believe it.
That was a mark, surely. I've lost all touch of what is a mark and what's not. Anyway, the Blues had a kick towards goal, which didn't finish up being a goal. And now out of defence, White cross for the Hawks. Across the ground he comes. Dew. Hand pass wasn't good for Mitchell. Put him under the pressure. And taken by Cruiser. Hand pass to Gibbs. Simpson again. Caught in possession. Back it comes to Stevens. To Carazzo. Dodges a would-be tackler. Gets the hand pass to Houlihan. Hand pass to Simpson. Simpson's hand pass misses the target. Gibbs dives at the ball. He's right in front. 25 out. He hasn't got it out. The umpire's pinged him for holding it. 56-47, a 9-point lead to the Hawks.
What a desperate passage of play that was. And the Hawks hold firm.
Both sides playing as if your life depended on every touch. It's wonderful to watch.
Brown has tipped it over the top to Tuck, who will hand pass back to Guerra and trying to place the ball to the defensive 50 for Osborne. They're trying to run out the quarter now, the Hawks. Sideways to Robert Campbell. Guerra follows up, and it's half-time. It sees Hawthorn with a 9-point lead at the break. Difficult to gauge exactly who is howling and about what. Hawthorn 9-2-56, Carlton 7-5-47, and once that echo of booing is finished, surely it will be replaced by rapturous applause in recognition of a half magnificently fought by 2 teams who are definitely going places.
Well, umpire McLaren's having a longer talk to Roughhead than Mick Malthouse had with his bloke last night. It's been going for...
Unbelievably good. Young Moss, he hasn't done a lot today, but what he's done has been very, very good.
Had 8 possessions in that quarter, and why I say that possessions aren't anything, but it means you're in the contest.
Yeah.
It means you're in the contest, and what we haven't talked about, of course, there when we can rattle off people's statistics in search of how many possessions you get. But the thing that we've loved has been the tackles, the chases, the smothers, all those other different things. And some of the times, Mark, where you almost hold your breath for a minute or so until one side's able to extricate itself out of it. And we've seen some things. And you just mentioned Judd. We've got to talk about Judd. We talk about the young kids. But Judd's ability, we know people are hanging off him and everything like that. But his ability, where there are 15 people through there, to get his way through, he wriggles his way through, he gets his way. But while he's doing that, his eyes are finding options. And he picks the bloke like that one he got out there to Stevens. The handball, he just picked him out of the corner of his eye, and he's hit him with this handball that's gone 15 to 20 metres. And Stevens didn't even have to alter stride. He's grabbed the foot and he's looking up, and there's the goals. I know he's on an angle, but you just look at that. You know the good thing? You just know that the other players in the Carlton team are seeing that. He's setting that standard, which will take them to another level. And that's why I just think there's so many highlights in this half a game of football so far.
And Sammy Mitchell too. His game's been fantastic. He's worked in the back half.
He's been asked to do a lot of that, hasn't he?
Oh, back half. He's been back there, and he's been down there really much with Hodge, who hasn't done a great deal of work. But every now and then you see him duck in and go bang, and all of a sudden you go, he can play at this level for a long time.
And both those people, we're talking leadership, aren't we? This is leadership by example. I think Mitchell sensed that Hodge was under pressure because Carrazzo was taking where he perhaps didn't want to go at times. So he's gone back there and said, OK, I'm going to play this little role for you. I'm going to shore the team up. I'm going to bring some solidity to this back line, and he did it magnificently.
And the Hawks have kicked 56 points without Franklin.
Yeah.
And the Hawks are nearly in their positions while the Blues are just breaking up from their solid huddle out on the ground. Gee, another bloke I'm pretty impressed with, and he's changed his game around, is Mark Williams, because he used to be a bloke who was never happy unless he was kicking the goals.
Interesting, isn't it?
He's played a really good role today because so often when they've been under pressure, he's been the lead-up guy. He's been prepared to come up between wing and half-back to provide them an avenue coming out of defence.
During this quarter, our Western Australian audience will depart for Subiaco for the Western Derby, the Eagles and the Dockers. Set to go in the second half at the MCG. It's Hawthorn by 9 points. Drew Morphy.
Sewell takes Judd. Cruiser wins the hit out, but straight to Mitchell. The ball spills to Taylor. And that's going nowhere. The umpire will ball it up again.
Take two.
Wiggins gives the ball back to the ump. No restrictions now, hardly any breathing space. Plenty of pressure around here. Taylor works it down. Taken by Wiggins. Hand pass to Simpson of the Blues. His hand pass inside the 50. It's taken back there by Williams of the Blues. Tom Williams by Williams of the Hawks. Back to Franklin. His kick out towards centre wing. Ducking through his Whitecross to get a hand pass to Bateman. Bateman has a bounce and approaches half-forward flank. Gets around Waite just. Draws him. Gets the hand pass in to Whitecross, who'd followed up. Sorry, it was Morton. Back to Whitecross. Now Rioli. And they've switched play towards the Great Southern Stand side. And guess who? A mark taken by... Oh, I thought it was Roughhead. No, it's Lewis. Lewis, front edge of the square. He kicks to centre half forward. Beautiful pass. And it lands straight onto the chest of Bateman, who has taken the mark streaming up the ground.
He can cover some ground, this bloke. He runs miles. I'd like to see his length of speed and how many miles he does run on a Saturday afternoon or kilometres.
He's coming up for just his fourth kick of the game. He's had 9 hand passes. Bateman in front, 47 out. Kicks away to the right-hand side and kicks it behind. So the Hawks lead by 10 points. They're 9-3 to the Blues, 7-5.
Thornton to kick in for the Blues. Jamison is on in the back pockets, and without incident, the ball is delivered for him. Jamison, though, is going to switch play across the face of goal. He kicked it low down. Russell handled it well, and he brings it out the southern side for Armfield. Still inside the defensive 50, but not for long. Scotland has run on. The ball was set up too high, and Dowler crashed in from the side. Heavy contact, both players. They were able to get up and trot away, not unharmed, but the ball went out of bounds. Tossed back in left half forward for the Hawks. Franklin's threatening at the pack, and so too is Lewis. Neither can quite win it away. Cruiser followed up after doing the work in the air and held the ball in at ground level. He bounced. Cruiser and Taylor eye each other. Cruiser won the taps, although the footy for the Hawks. He tried to hand it to Mitchell, just a bit too close to him. Taylor, he's dispossessed. So too is Bateman. The tackling is outstanding from the Blues. They keep it trapped there, denying the Hawks any way out.
It's just... Oh.
The tackle count in this game has got to break an all-time record, isn't it?
If you suffer claustrophobia, don't be in this game. Cruiser wins the hit out, goes to Lewis though. His hand pass taken by Murphy of the Blues. Hand pass back. Power shares it. Finds Cade Simpson. Out wide he goes to Wiggins. His hand pass up to Judd, who dropped it. Wow, what happened there? whipped off the ground by Hodge. Hand pass to Lewis, back to Hodge on the run. He gets to half forward, Luke Hodge off the left with plenty of distance. Brown in the goal square. It clears Brown and his marksman Waite and goes through for a minor score. The Hawks 9-4, Carlton 7 goals 5, an 11-point lead to the Hawks.
Jamison into the back pocket for Thornton. So the reverse of the previous kicking. Thornton looks out to half-back. Judd is trotting down to offer something. He's going to have to kick it to a contest. Thornton, it's a 5-man pack. It slews out the side. Hodge committed himself against Murphy. Murphy won the ball, though. Hand passed over his head and out of bounds. It's going to be tossed in. Like most of the first 4 minutes of this term has been played in this exact spot at left half forward for the Hawks. Again, it's Cruiser and Taylor. Taylor definitively the tap this time. Mishandled by Sewell, but he won it back off to Bateman. Delivers inside the 50, and Moss is in front. He was offloaded after he marked it. No menace in it. Moss is going to play on as Armfield was scratching the turf. Moss took liberties and rammed through the goal. Well, that's going to look awful for Dennis Armfield when he has shown that by the coaching staff. The Hawks have extended their lead to 17. It is the biggest of the afternoon. 10-4-64. Carlton 7-5-47.
And they have thrown the gauntlet down. As we said at this break, we know that Hawthorn will come out. They will come out and be able to continue at that momentum, and that's exactly what they've done. Their pressure in and under, some of the ferocious attack on the ball. Carlton have to weather this. This is important. People like Sewell, they're just almost playing kamikaze stuff. The ball goes up, and young Moss, that's why he's a good footballer. Not because he's got great running ability, he's got a footy brain, and he just sensed the man on the mark, went to sleep for 1 second, took the advantage and went on and kicked a lovely goal.
Straight bounce in the middle. It comes down to Judd. His hand pass is knocked down by Rioli. And taken here for the Hawks by Lewis up to Sewell, who is playing a great game. Kicked by Sewell inside the 50. Thornton leads the race. Gets a bad bounce though over his head. Nearly set it up for Roughhead. But the Blues are back there. Jamison spun round in a tackle and he's caught holding the ball. And it'll be a Hawthorn free kick. Rioli wanted to go on and take it, but he'll have to go back behind the mark.
Great tackle it was too. Pinned his arm, wouldn't let him give him a chance to get rid of the ball, and he had to fumble it at some stage.
Michael Jamison was nailed by a bloke about half his size. Here is Cyril Rioli, who's played every game since he debuted round 1 last year. What a credit to the family. Tight angle, about 30 metres. Rioli off the left. He gave it a bit of a hook and missed to the right-hand side. So the Hawks have kicked 1-3 in this quarter. Carlton yet to go forward to the centre. It's 10-5 to 7-5.
Waite kicked it in, but he's been told to do it again. So the Blues have got to absorb these blows and somehow come out the other side. Waite stabs it in, bouncing ball to Thornton. Hand passes it straight back to Waite. Your problem, mate, having mucked it up. Hand pass to Scotland and Thornton. They're in a triangle and they're just about gone. Holding the ball. A dreadful miss by the 3 defenders, and Campbell Brown stuck the tackle that mattered.
Jeez,
you can see the pressure applying. The Hawks are just attacking them. Okay, if you want to win this, see how you go. And they're just powering into them, pushing them, shoving them, and they're just not doing the first thought all the time.
Right forward pocket, Campbell Brown does not deviate, delivers it goal. It'll flop into the square and off hands. The Hawks another behind. They let Carlton off the hook ever so slightly. 19 points is the lead.
Yeah, it'd be cruel if the Blues went the length of the ground and kicked a goal after all this pressure by the Hawthorn forwards. Kick-in's good. And Russell marks, but he kicks into the man on the mark, Williams. Williams ducks his head, might have taken a high tackle. Play on. Russell, a give and go. And he finds Murphy. Kick by Mark Murphy, over half back. Oh! 2 Hawthorn players, a head clash. Osborne and Guerra. Oh. But they're up and running again. Guerra puts pressure on. Cloak gets the ball up to Cade Simpson. Up he goes to Eddie Betts at half forward. Back to Simpson, who'd kept on running. Concedes a little bit of ground back to Houlihan. Here come the Blues now. Scotland hoists the ball high. Gee, I don't like that kick much for the forwards. Here comes Hodge, but he overruns it. Fevola is there, gathers the high bouncing ball on the 50, steers towards goal, and there is the goal on the rebound by the Hawks. By the Blues, you wouldn't believe it. Fevola's got 4. And the margin's back to 13 points.
It always happens. They fight, and all of a sudden the Hawks missed a couple of easy ones. But I really like the work of Simpson. Simpson's run, the attack on the ball from half-back, kept going through the middle of the ground and another one, and then it was a bodgy kick into the forward line. Didn't matter. Didn't make any difference. They had numbers there, and all of a sudden you see Fev at his absolute best. He's on the stage, big crowd, running around the corner. He's kicked 2 of those today. 2 of those already today, and that was a beauty. The Blues are back in it.
Takeover Target has won the Group 1 in Adelaide, untouched. Won it by a length. Thrilling stuff by the old veteran who'll head off overseas now. The Blues have responded here. Renoff, he's dragged off his kick in the middle. Hawthorn player over the ball is going to be nailed holding the ball. It's just a matter of who it was. It was Morton who came from the wing. Gibbs will put it inside the 50 for the Blues. Off hands to Betts. Snaps at goal against the flow. They've got 2 in a row. Eddie Betts strikes as is his wont. 9-5-59 to Hawthorn, 10-6-66, 10 minutes gone.
Well, I might say they've answered a couple of questions, and those are, yeah, we can soak up pressure, and when we have a rebound and we get the footy forward, it doesn't have to be pretty. Just belt it in, we'll win the one-on-ones, and there's Betts the opportunist, and he pounces on it and rolls one through. Oh, boy. Gee, I was just about to say, I don't know if they can handle it anymore, the Blues, and they've answered in the best possible way.
7-point lead to the Hawks, who dominated for about 7 minutes, and Carlton went bang-bang at the other end. Here's the bounce. One in the middle by Renner for the Hawks. Throw by Sewell, who's going in like a wild bull.
Oh, isn't he? Unbelievable.
Takes a high tackle, gets the free kick, kicks out wide to half-forward flank. Dew, he was in the grandstand commentary box 2 years ago. Here he goes, shrugging off a tackle, kicks to full forward. Roughhead in the pocket, scoops it in one-handed, swings back towards goal, hoists it over his shoulder, doesn't miss by a long way. And I think that's hit the behind.
Yeah, it's gone through, I'm sure.
It's score. It is a behind to Roughhead. So he's kicked 6 goals, 2 today. And it is 10-7-67 to Carlton 9-5-59.
Kelly Underwood.
Cade Simpson coming from the ground again. He doesn't look in good shape. He's limping, still struggling with that corky. And they're down a man on the bench for the Blues. Aaron Joseph left the ground holding his ribs. He's down in the rooms.
It's absorbing stuff on grandstand AFL. The kick into the pocket for Russell. Can the Blues get within a goal? They've been held at arm's length for a while. Russell kicked it out to halfback. Big pack. Renoff made the spoil. Sewell's there again. Hand pass to Mitchell. Out the back to Guerra. Arched the back and got away. Gave it to Tuck. Got it back. Guerra to centre half forward. Round the laces of Osborne. Pushed off it by Jamison. White did well. The Blues hold together again. The kick out to the broadcast wing. Taken by Eddie Betts. He'll go up the line. Carazzo's his target. It's a contest. Murphy won it. Hands down. Not paid the mark. Carazzo the tackle. Ball in dispute. Scotland has it. 2 Hawks have him. Buried at centre at half forward. With Carlton attacking.
Was the mark? Carlton fans thought so. Knocked down. Here's Sewell again. Ridden into the ground by Cloak. Ball pinned to him. And the umpire will bounce. Kelly Underwood.
Well, he's in the wars, Cade Simpson. He came off with that corky earlier. He's now getting some treatment for his right ankle.
60 from goal. Carlton in attack. Virtually uncontested. Cloak. Bentley for the Blues. Oh, he threw it. Bobbed it up in the air and then slapped it with his hands. Been pinged. And the free kick will go to Mitchell, who was applying the tackle. Sammy Mitchell at half-back flank for the Hawks. Short pass to Tuck. Tuck kicks towards the circles. Running onto it, Guerra. Hand pass on to Dew. Off the left. He kicks it a mile. Roughhead. No mark. Chance for Franklin to the back. Socket away by Bauer, but only in the path of Roughhead. He's only 25 from goal. Concedes some ground back to Osborne. Standing start won't make the distance to the goal square. Two Hawks up against each other. No mark. Murphy gets the hand pass out, but still there for the Hawks. Umpire lets it go. They're tearing the skin off each other. And the umpire comes in and is going to ball it up. 67 to 59, an 8-point lead to the Hawks.
They were out of there, but the desperation of Campbell Brown was just unbelievable. He threw himself head first onto someone's boot. So beautiful stuff.
The Hawks have trapped it forward. Can they make something of it? Help in the tap. Got to be clean. Scotland caught by Franklin too high. Scotland plays on immediately. Hand pass to Murphy and on to Judd. Judd will flick it sideways to Jamison. Off half back now to Cloak. Cloak's hand pass knocked down by Hodge. Hodge then tackles Jamison. What a win for Hodge. Came up with the footy. Hand pass to Renoff. Shoots it out to Bateman. Now on to Campbell Brown. He kicks to the top of the square. Roughhead in front. It clears him. White gathers it one-handed at the back. Bangs it out of trouble and did it brilliantly. Straight to Wiggins. Now on to O'Halpin. Delivers the Blues into the middle. Too hot for Bentley. He doesn't belong in this company. Whisks away from him by Saul, who certainly does. Out to Tuck. And now to Hodge.
Oh, yes, Bentley was badly exposed there. Hodge, a glorious pass out wide to the half-forward flank. Dew marks, kicks to full forward, and a dive by Franklin. And he's marked out in the pocket about 35 metres from goal. And Buddy Franklin, who hasn't bothered the scorers today, will have a shot for goal. Roughhead's kicked 6-2, and Franklin zip. 8-point lead to the Hawks. Franklin in the shadows, going to the city end. Couple of steps, leans back on it and kicks a behind. So he's been left behind by his cohort. 10-9 to 9 goals 5.
Stevens to kick in. We've gone 15 and a half minutes of the third term. He's picked out Jamison in the back pocket. Jamison's going across the face of goal. Kicks it to Waite. Go up the corridor with Gibbs presenting and taking off to centre half-back. He pulls his kick out to Cloak on the broadcast wing, shoulder to shoulder with Murphy. It hit Cloak in the mush and allows Dowler to come through. He delivers a central ball, taken by Sewell, who is off. Hand pass to Mitchell, and it has opened up. He delivers the Hawks inside the 50, and Williams presents to take the mark.
Some days when you just have one of those days, it doesn't work for you. Cloak's having one of them at the moment.
Cloak.
That's running the family.
Mark Williams with the shot at goal. His team leads by 9 points. Williams is directly in front. 50 away. The right foot drop punt is on its way. It's got the carry and the accuracy. And the Hawks just reassert themselves to lead by 15 points. 11-8 to 9-5.
Well, oh, you go, mate.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, yeah, admiration for some players in this game. There are some players who just almost will themselves into this game, and Sewell's one of those players. His work in this quarter, he's been very good the whole game, but this quarter he's had 7 possessions, but it's the way he's won the ball and he's set them up, and just his hardness, and it's almost come follow me type play. And again, just the ability to win that footy in there, to go loose the ball over the top, and because of that wonderful ball, the ball goes straight in the forward line. Williams just runs on and gets a chance to kick a goal, and they really are throwing the gauntlet down to the young Blues side at this stage.
Cruiser against Taylor in the middle, and Cruiser wins the tap. Eddie Betts came off the flank to gather the ball. Hand pass to Bentley, stood up in the pressure that time. Got it off to Stevens and out the back to Gibbs. He kicks out to the wing for Russell. He's trotting back. They haven't found the way forward though. They will now to Judd. Judd rises one-handed, pulls it down at ground level. Almost got away from him. Judd is going to put them inside the 50. O'Halpin's his target. He is soundly beaten for the ball, but follows on at ground level. He and Mitchell go to ground together. Gibbs has dumped once he took possession. Campbell-Brown got some high contact, not seen by the umpire. Stevens comes out with it, gives it to Betts at the 50, can't find a way through. Back to Stevens, off balance against the boundary. Tumbles his kick to full forward. Loose ball still. Judd against Mitchell. Judd for Betts. Betts got it out to Cruiser. Cruiser got it onto O'Halpin. Desperate stuff. Oh, what a spoil by Guerra. And the ball spins out to Dew. Off to Franklin. Galloping half, back through and on to Dew.
Now, ball bouncing around at half-back for the Blues. Grabbed by Houlihan. He kicks short of half-forward. They've turned it over. Lewis gets the hand pass away to Tuck under pressure. His hand pass back to Mitchell. Mitchell balks a hand pass, but he's given it up to Cruiser. Cruiser the hand pass to Murphy. 60 out. He kicks to a leading Fevola, who marks overhead on the run. Beautiful delivery. Kelly Underwood
has come through a big fair bump on Brendan Whitecross. He went straight down, he didn't move, and the trainers have gone out to him and they've just carried him off the ground.
So Fevola, who's kicked 4 goals, 1. Crosses the 50, he gets to about 49 and drop punts for goal. Just offline, missing to the left-hand side. He's had some chances. A 14-point lead to the Hawks. 11-8 to 9 goals 6.
Where it does the kicking in for Murphy. He'll bring it out to half-back with Williams on offer. Too high for him. All Williams did a good job. He tipped it and then marked it at the second attempt. He's going to send it back now for Guerra. He might try the southern side of the ground. Guerra sends it to Robert Campbell, who's played permanent defence today. He's got 2 players calling for it at centre half-back. Murphy is grounded right of way to mark. The next move is not there, though. Sideways he'll go again to Guerra. Third possession in the movement. This one has good penetration about it. Beautiful kick up the wing for Lewis, who spilt it, and Betts is right onto him. Betts tackles Lewis, drags him off it. Lewis is still in possession. Betts is a bit stiff, I reckon, not to be paid holding the ball.
Got to pay something.
Still going.
It's still going. It's a bit of a nonsense. That had to be a free kick for holding the ball. They've had a good run of it, the Blues, I know, but that was there. The Hawks come away with it. Hodges' hand pass was poor, cut off by Murphy. Gets it on to Cruiser. Now to O'Halpin on the wing. Hand pass to Armfield. Here comes the wave of Blue attack. Scotland took a while to gather around his laces. Player field in the back plate. Free kick to Carlton. Advantage paid. Fevola almost marked. Wiggins is the crummer. Back to Fevola. Oh, he was knocked off it by Murphy. That was weak stuff by the Carlton full forward.
That's O'Halpin down in midfield. Taylor spins out of trouble at centre half back for the Hawks and kicks the ball backwards to Dowler. Dowler kicks towards centre wing. Unmarked is Lewis. Bateman screaming past. Lewis has kicked towards the 50. A sliding attempted mark is a mark to Buddy Franklin. He plays on. Round the man on the mark, goes long for goal. Oh, Roughhead over the top, takes the mark. He was in no position to take that mark, and Ruffy is just having a day out. He opens up the angle, hooks back with the left, and misses. So he's kicked 6 goals, 3, Jared Roughhead. And it's Hawthorn 11-9-75, leading by 15 points. Carlton 9-6-60.
Second footy on the field. There's a slight delay on the kicking. Hawthorn has set their zone. Waits to kick in. Judd has just come from the bench and Waite has seen him, so he loads it up and it carries 50 metres for Judd to run onto. He marks. Simpson wanted it over the top. Judd thought better of giving it there. Sideways instead to Scotland. 40 away from the defensive goal and back to Judd, who floats around. He's in possession. Brings it back to the broadcast side. Jamison slides into mark at the defensive 50. Struggling to get it any further for the moment. So the kick back to the teeth of goal. Bauer is the player presenting there. Russell wants it centrally, but Bauer is going to stay in the pockets. out into the right back pocket. And it is Thornton with Franklin coming at him, who has to kick to a contest. Wiggins was pitted against 3 and the Hawks will win it away. Hand pass comes out the side to Sewell, inside the 50. No mark taken by Moss. Ground level is Stevens. Hand pass to Waite. Hand pass to Bauer and on to Cruiser and back to Bauer and out to the wing for Murphy and back to Bauer, who kept coming. He releases Judd, kicks for Betts at the 50. He dropped the mark, plays on. Judd kept coming, receives it, gives it to O'Halpin. Can't handle it. Out into the pocket. Hand pass to Scotland. He's caught, trying to get it to Betts. Nearly holding the ball. Betts followed up, snapped and missed. It was a beautiful move until it got 40 out. Bad hands from Betts, worse hands by O'Halpin, and they gave up what looked like a certain goal. The Hawks by 14.
Oh, why wouldn't Juddy have kicked for goal? He gave the ball out wider to O'Halpin. It'd be about the worst option you could go for. Kick in. It's come off hands and gone out of bounds. Bateman holding his lower back. It's 75-61, a 14-point lead to the Hawks. Here's the throw-in on Carlton's attacking 50. Comes through to the back. Scotland, little hand pass. Finishes up with Murphy. Going towards the boundary line, he runs out of room. He might have been carried forward in the tackle. Yes, he did. Free kick to Murphy. Mark Murphy about 35 metres out from goal. Guerra monstered him. Murphy runs back into the field of play, hooks it back to goal and misses to the near side. So Carlton go to 9-8, trailing Hawthorn 11-9. 25 minutes gone, third quarter.
Hodge to kick in for Guerra. Guerra thought about the short pass and gives it now to Whitecross, who has pulled himself together and returned to the field of play. Good effort. He was only off for a couple of minutes. It's a copying a ferocious bump. Whitecross chips it to Guerra. Guerra will advance the cause to Mitchell. Patient build-up. Mitchell still at half-back. Now he goes for half-forward. Renoff's behind. Cruiser knocks it down, but Renoff has it. Cruiser has him. Great tackle. Had to be holding the ball. And was.
Gee, don't you love that? Don't you just love that? Gone for all money, but he refused to give in. And he's won himself a free.
Hand passes it away, Cruiser to Stevens and on to Armfield at the wing. Needs to make a good decision. Got it to Simpson. He got out the back of the zone. Kicks for a one-on-one. Waite has swung forward. It cleared him. It bounces tantalisingly toward goal and runs out of play against the behind posts. Blues need one. They're on terms in the play, but they're 13 points behind on the board. O'Halpin's in the ruck. Tried to control it. Got it. Snapped it. You wouldn't believe it. The Irishman got it. Satana O'Halpin makes amends for the ball he botched in the forward pocket a couple of minutes ago. And he drags the Blues closer. They're 7 points behind. 10-8-68. Hawthorn 11-9-75.
And the contest continues. We wonder about them sometimes, whether they're going to drop off, and they come again. O'Halpin has been pretty ordinary all day. Fumbled, squandered a couple of opportunities, probably squandered a goal just a minute ago. Been out of sorts all day, just plucks one out of the air. Got his body in front. Really good chance. When you get your body in front and you hold your ground, all of a sudden the other players fall about. He grabs it, surprises them, kicks a goal. He can do anything, that kid, but he's just got to believe in himself that he can play. They're right in this game, Carlton.
Margin back to 7 points. In the middle, Cloak in the ruck. Wins it. Gets it to Judd, who's dispossessed. Oh, it's back in the bullseye again, and there's about 8 players just ripping at each other.
I want to know how many times Sewell has been on the bottom of the pack. I reckon it's probably 10 this quarter.
Yeah. He's a beauty. He's going to Gibbs at the moment. Taylor wins this hit out. Can they get it clear? No. They stand him up on the tackle. The umpire will bounce again. Sewell's had Judd for a while. Lewis is back on Judd at the minute. Here's the bounce. Cloak might have won that one. It's still in the bullseye. The umpire's going to ball it up for the 4th time. It is 75-68, a 7-point lead to the Hawks at the 28-minute mark of the 3rd quarter. What a game we've had at the MCG. Live around the country on grandstand. Lewis, the 3rd man up, wins for the Hawks. But it's the next possession. Can anybody get a possession? No. And we're going to get a 5th bounce, and it has moved across the ground about 8 metres. Jerry.
And the field is around it, that's for sure. Umpire McLaren slaps it into the turf. Taylor wins the tap. Mitchell can't break clear. Wiggins was riding him like Newitt aboard, rightfully yours over the last 100.
Good stuff.
The bounty on the break builds with each of these bounces. Who can take it away? Taylor took it out of the ruck. He got caught by Simpson. Ball falls for Gibbs. Now to Judd. Couldn't find a way through. Hand passed out near Armfield. Kamikaze stuffed by Lewis. Wins the footy out to Moss. Slipped off his hands though. Carazzo was buried into the turf. No free kick. Oh, Rioli. Terrific tackle on Houlihan, but he didn't follow up. Houlihan gets it off to Joseph and then wins it back. Off to Gibbs. The Blues set up in the middle. Simpson marks. Gives it to Judd. Didn't stretch out. Delivered instead. Right to Fevola. He draws Fevola out with the bait. He tosses it 3/4 distance and makes his full forward
That is a beautiful description. That is a beautiful description, Jared, of exactly what he did.
Good work by Houlihan.
Oh, what a kick this is now. After the 3/4 time siren, it is Hawthorn by 7 points. Fevola's 50 out directly in front. He's booted 4 goals, 3. And this is built on 12 or 13 minutes of arm wrestle, where the Blues have showed they belong in the best of company. The major to reward all the effort. Fevola sends it on its way. It's there. It's a 1-point ball game at the final change. The Fev has 5 and the Blues are feeling comfortable in this company. Hawthorn 11-9-75, leading Carlton 11-8-74. Hawthorn led by as much as 19 points.
Bracknell 6-10-46. Georgetown 21-5-131. Sharks 5-3-33. Bridgenorth 11-7-73. Longford 8-6-54. Division 2 3/4 time. Tamar Cats 10-11-71. Perth 12-4-76. St Pat's 22-11-143. Old Launcestonians 4-7-31. Uni Mowbray 16-13-109. Evandale 4-7-31. Old Scotch 9-8-62. Fingal 6-7-43. And at the MCG, what a game this has been. It's Carlton and Hawthorn, 1 point separating them. Hawthorn 11-9-75. Carlton 11-8-74. Let's go back there now.
Hang on to it there when you get a chance. First thought is always... You've done enough now. Now you've got to lift again. And we saw the Blues a few times last year win last quarters and continue to barrel sides in the last quarter. And also hold your feet. That'd be the biggest key to this game. If you hang on to your feet here in this competition now, you can actually run and chase and do all that. Once you hit the deck, it's all over.
Well, Carlton started the game at $2.04. They got out to $2.40 at quarter time. They're back into $2.02. But the Hawks are the favourites at $1.67. Judd's had 28 possessions. Mark Murphy 25. Mitchell leads the Hawks with 22. The inside 50s favour Carlton 38-31. If that keeps up, they might win the game. They're only a point down. What a last quarter we're set for.
This is why you love footy. The test of the Blues against the champs, the Hawks. Hawthorn by a point. Final term underway. Lewis throws himself at the ball, but he didn't get rid of it well. The smother made by Mitchell, though, on the cruiser kick. He traps it in. The Western Derby is underway. We'll dot scores in, but more so after this game is finished. You wouldn't want to miss a moment of this. Cruiser wins the tap in the middle. Down to Stevens. Shoots out the hand pass, but to nobody. Campbell Brown kicks it back into the jumble in the middle. They close. Rioli kept away from it, but he fights on like a terrier. He got there. Off to Jew, to full forward. Roughhead's in the chop. He takes the mark. 15 out directly in front. Cyril Rioli has grown into a midfielder so early in his career. The star of the goal-kicking day has been Roughhead, and he now has 7. He cancels out the Brendan Fevola bomb on three-quarter time, and it's the Hawks by 7 points.
So often in the game of football, and we were lucky here to actually see what happens away from the footy, and to me I think it's an indication of why that goal was scored. Roughhead was a lovely mark, but I looked to the teammates and I saw two things. I saw them go to Rioli. They appreciate and they realised to win that one-on-one. Then I looked further back up the ground and I saw them run to Campbell Brown, because he was the bloke back there who ran hard at the footy, took them on, showed the courage to attack it and get it out. That's the sort of thing that teammates love that. They love the one-on-ones, they love the hard work that means that one of their own men is able to kick a goal.
Bounce back in the middle, a big fly by Cruiser, down to Murphy. Judd has it now, he's wrapped up by Sewell. And Taylor, he's caught holding the ball.
Well,
I'm not sure how he could have got a hand pass out there. Did he have a prior? Free kick goes to Sewell. Little hand pass away to Dew. He's kicked it a mile again. Roughhead, juggles, drops the mark. Comes to the front to Armfield. Going defensively. Chance here for Franklin. And the ball out of bounds in the pocket. And we'll have a throw in about 10 metres around from the behind post. With Hawthorn back into attack. They lead by 7 points, 12-9 to 11 goals, 8. And we've played 2.5 minutes in this final quarter. The crowd at fever pitch at the MCG. And what a crowd it is. Cruiser wins the hit out. Down to Bauer. He can't find space. Rioli's got him. Chance for Cruiser again. Bauer becomes the tackler on Franklin. Pretty strong, Paul Bauer. He stands Franklin up in the tackle. And
done a great job too, Drew.
Yeah, and there's no free kick for that. Similar to the previous. Here's a baller.
Away 9 kilos and 4 centimetres, but he's taken Franklin's number so far. Rioli tried to dart through the pack. He got held up. 3 came at him. Ball stays in the left forward pockets. Hawthorn pushing with an 11-point lead. Roughhead is up. He knocked it down to Bauer for the Blues. Cruiser got some sort of hand pass out near Bauer. Hand pass was smothered. Moss is caught with the ball. No way out.
I reckon we've seen 20 or 30 ball ups, one after another. Just both sides fighting for possession.
It is tense around this bounce. Roughhead again puts the body in strongly. Almost won the footy out the side. Cruiser collapses on top of him yet again.
These umps will finish up with arms like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, this is the sort of thing that really, this is the pressure. This is the real energy-sapping thing, these pressure tackles.
Cruiser beautiful down to Judd. He delivers them out of trouble for a moment. Carazzo couldn't mark because Hodge was wearing him close. He gets his hand pass out to Whitecross. Further on to Murphy. Spreads it out to the southern wing for Dowler. Dowler changes the angle of attack. Franklin's in front. Bauer did a good job to make the spoil. They scrap for it. Stevens is the tackler. He had a case for holding the ball. He didn't get it against Bateman.
There's no reason why an umpire should treat the last quarter any differently from any other part of the game, but you'd like to put the whistles away and let them go. Sewell gets a hand pass out, but it's knocked down by Stevens. Sewell follows up with a great tackle. Magnificent football. The umpire did put his whistle away. Blues get it back towards centre wing. The Hawks regain the football. Whitecross kicks the ball across the ground as Stewie Dew has found himself in 15 metres of space. He draws Gibbs and Dew thumps a left footer towards the 50. It's on the bounce wide to Williams, who can't control it. And the ball goes out of play. Stewie Dew's close enough to the interchange gate, so he comes off and is replaced by Tuck. It's 81-74, a 7-point lead to the Hawks.
50 out from the Hawthorn goal. Going to the punt road into the final 2. Taylor wins the tap. He was looking for Sewell. He has to retreat to grab the footy. Hand pass to Mitchell. Got his hand pass out to Tuck. They're giving ground in possession. Whitecross now to Brown. Caught by Simpson. Now who will win the footy? Murphy against Mitchell. No one. A bounce in the broadcast wing. Adam White, Subiaco.
Very even start here in the Western Derby. It's West Coast 128, Fremantle 117. We've played 10 minutes in the first term.
Couple of metres the Hawthorn side of the middle. Cruiser the tap down to Judd. Hand pass up in the air. Stevens had it for a moment. He was dragged out of the pack by Renoff. Ball in dispute. Mitchell to Bateman, out to Lewis. Now for Franklin at the 50. Buddy's taken the mark. He had one step on Bauer, but this is a difficult shot.
These are the ones he gets.
Yeah.
54 metres out.
Got to be vigilant here, Paul Bauer.
Franklin hunches down over the level. Begins his approach. It'll take Buddy's very best. He loads it up. The best goal kicker in the game strikes magnificently. Carried the pack superbly. And the Hawks have the Blues at arm's length again. 13-9-87. Carlton 11-8-74.
Well, that was Mitchell. Mitchell's work in and under just to get the ball out. And then a Lewis kick. He was under pressure. He looked tired. He looked exhausted, but it was a beauty. Straight onto Franklin. And from 50 metres on that side, he loves that side where he curls it back in. Actually, almost a slice kick, if you call it that way. And he emerges, Franklin, for his first. For his first of the day, but a very important first for the day. When under question, Franklin jumps up and kicks one.
Well, they've skipped away before, the Hawks, and Carlton reeled them into within a point at three-quarter time, so it's definitely not over yet. McLaren bounces in the middle. Mitchell roves. Can't get it free, though. And they swamp in there. The umpire will bounce again. It is 13-9-87 to 11-8-74. 13-point lead to Hawthorn. Here's the bounce. Comes to Sewell, who burrows his way through, but loses it to Houlihan. Houlihan goes to ground. Hawthorn players reckon he's fairly tackled. And umpire McLaren says, no, give it to me. I'll bounce. 87-74. It's so similar to Anzac Day. And could we get a win with the last kick of the day? We might yet. Renoff wins the head out, but it comes Blues way. Murphy gets it out to Stevens. He kicks inside the 50. Knocked away by Hodge. But roving Fevola gets the hand pass, but it's at the feet of Carazzo, and Fevola takes the ball over the boundary line on the 50. Carlton in attack, and will have a throw in. 13-point lead to the Hawks.
Blues have it at their 50 at the throw in. Cruiser and Renoff. Cruiser the tap, but Mitchell came up with the footy. Fires out the hand pass to Tuck. He gives some space out wide there to Morton. Kicks across halfback. Sewell takes the mark. He looks up the southern wing. He'll kick it to Lewis, who's on a probing lead. He was offloaded by Houlihan. That was fair. Osborne comes at Houlihan and dispossessed him. It falls for Morton. Inside the 50, Franklin didn't mark. Bauer was hanging all over him. Franklin follows up, paddles it to his advantage. Williams comes in to help. The Blues stand up though. Bauer and Jamieson, and now Russell and Murphy, and back to Russell. Charging to the defensive 50. Kick had to be perfect. It was. On the grass. White has taken the mark. He delivers for Carazzo on the lead at half forward. Bouncing ball. Hodge in pursuit. Carazzo goes one way then the other. High ball inside the 50. Wide. Awful. Robert Campbell's there to make the spoil and put it out of play. 50 out from the Carlton goal. It's Hawthorn by 13 points.
Get on your correct foot, Carazzo. A right footer.
O'Halpin in the ruck against Renoff. And the free kick's going to go to O'Halpin. A premiership ruckman against an Irishman. And O'Halpin wins the free. So this is just outside the 50. About 53 metres out from goal. O'Halpin did kick one in the third quarter. But that was pretty much a gift right in front. This is a task for a bloke. He runs around and hooks it back off the right. Hasn't quite got the distance. Goal square job. Fevola up high. Comes off hands and through for a behind for the Blues, who go to 11 goals, 9-75. Hawthorn 13-9-87. And there is the margin, 12 points.
Wera kicks it into Mitchell. That was a bad option by O'Halpin to be kicking to that spot. Mitchell to Murphy. Brings it out wide and past the defensive 50 for Brown and on to Roughhead. He's going to kick it back to centre half back. Lewis is there to mark. Wedges it over the top to Mitchell running through the middle. Now the run comes. Rioli. He can dish it off to Bateman. Checked himself. Got back onto the right boot. Kicked for Franklin. Rioli's the crummer. Trademark stuff. Missed. Gee, had it 30 out. No pressure coming at him. Hung it out to the left. Missed opportunity. Hawthorn by 13 points. 11 minutes played of the final term. Adam White, Subiaco.
West Coast a narrow lead, 3-3-21 over Fremantle, 2-1-13. We've played 16 minutes in beautiful conditions at Subiaco.
Kick into Jamison. He gets the hand pass back. Here come the Blues up to Stevens. He got that from Russell's. Kick by Stevens over the wing. Pack was crunched. At the back, Campbell Brown. He gathers. Gets the hand pass away to Tom Murphy. To Guerra. Guerra's hand pass to Hodge. Just gets rid of it in time to Tuck. Tuck under pressure to Williams. Williams' hand pass intercepted. Here come the Blues. Eddie Betts passes to full forward. Fevola uncontested. Runs in and kicks number 6. Seven points the margin. Hawthorn 13-10 lead. Carlton 12 goals 9.
Well, I'm going to tell you something very unusual that came about because of pressure. It's between the whole day. You're honestly, the pressure, and the thing about it, I'm just watching all day, is that sometimes in a game, players stand back thinking, well, if the guy mucks up, then I'll go. But they're at him, and they're at him all the time. And then it was just the weight of numbers by the Blues forced the ball to spill the bets, and as a result, Fevola's just on his bike going backpedaling. It's popped over the top, and he's kicked the goal. And this is just the mark of the game. I don't know how many times today we've said one side looked at they've got away. Hawthorn really looked to be controlling this game, but again, because of that never say die attitude of the Blues, they're back in it.
7 points to difference at the bounce. It comes down the way of Gibbs, caught by Mitchell, dragged off it, toe poked off the ground by Betts, only as far as Sewell. He kicks to the 50. Bauer and Franklin out. Rioli's trying to get onto it. Bauer's got it. Rioli's got him. Rioli's trying to pull it out away from Bauer. He can't. It would be a jump ball in basketball. They each had an equal share of it. Instead of bounce.
Very strong young man.
25 out from the Hawthorn goal. Cloak the tap, wide of the pack. Judd tried, missed. Roughhead gets there. More centrally with a kick to Sewell. He's outside the 50. Sewell has a look to the goal square where Franklin is pleading for it. He makes the lead now. Set it up high. They jump from everywhere. Off hands. Stewart Dew is the closer. Hawthorn by 13 points. 14-10 to 12-9. We have gone 14 minutes.
Well, you can understand that Sewell, where he kicked the ball, versus O'Halpin about 5 minutes ago kicked the ball. He kicked the ball to a dangerous spot, Sewell. 15 metres out, the big pack flies. All of a sudden, the one who's down is Dew. But you test the opposition. They all went up. They were all scared their man was going to mark it, and a couple should have stayed down, but none of the Blues, just Dew, Stewie Dew. And Sewell has been just outstanding in the way he's worked. Now he gets some reward. He's on the end of a goal for Stewie Dew. He's a player.
Blues have to do it all over again. 13 points the margin in favour of the Hawks. 14 and a half minutes played in the last quarter. Cloak goes up, beaten by Taylor. Rove by Tuck, gets a little hand pass out. And the Hawks off and running. Lewis kicks from midfield to Sewell. What a game he has played, Brad Sewell. As well as Sammy Mitchell, the midfielders. Gee, they sleep well tonight. Kick towards full forward. Cloak gets back there with a fist to the ball. It's going to be a Carlton free kick. Underneath all that, Nick Stevens was held, and he'll take the free. Last line of defence. They've got to go the length of the ground. He goes short, out to the back pocket to Houlihan. He goes short to Bentley. On defensive 50, Great Southern stand side. Kick up towards midfield, Cloak in the pack, thump down to the front, rowed by Houlihan. draws a man, sweeps a hand pass to Murphy, who paddles the ball looking for Judd. It comes to Gibbs. He gets his hand pass to Scotland under pressure. He has to hand pass backwards, taken by Dew. Hand pass to Guerra. The Hawks off and running here. Brent Guerra, 65 from goal. He passes to full forward. Williams of Thornton gets back and takes a juggling mark.
Courageous.
In the same direction as the ball. He's been carved up today by Roughhead, but that's the best thing he's done all day, Brett Thornton.
Oh, that was fearless. Hold your breath, fearless. He kicks it up to the wing where Lewis out-wrestles Cloak and takes a telling mark. Lewis stabs the ball for Bateman. He didn't mark. Sewell's got it again. Kicks to full forward over the top of Franklin and Bauer. They fight at the back. Bauer tackles Franklin. He's got in his back. Unfortunate but fair.
You wouldn't believe what Sewell did then. Kicked it to the same spot he kicked it 2 minutes ago. And before again. 3 times in the last 5 minutes, Sewell's kicked it to that spot.
And Franklin with the shot at goal. Sewell has won a David Parkin medal before. I'm almost sure of it. He might pick up a second this afternoon. The kick is with Lance Franklin, and he puts it through. It's a long way back now for Carlton. 19 points, Hawthorn's lead at the 17-minute mark of the final term. 15-10, 100 to 12-9, 81. That was Franklin's second to the final 2.
Yes, and Bauer's done a magnificent job on him, but it's just been the weight of numbers. Hawthorn just belting the ball in, making a contest. And as the boys said, Sewell just absolutely fantastic from this point of view. He's just willed himself into the game. It's been a massive contest in there. You've just got Sewell and Judd. Their performances, both of them today, and what they've done for their side has been outstanding. But the boys have said this is a massive, massive test now for the Blues to come back from here. They've been able to do it most of the day, but not get their head in front.
Here's the bounce in the middle. It comes underfoot once more. And the umpire will have to bounce again.
Quick one from Adam White, Subiaco.
Good game here. West Coast 27 leading Fremantle 19. So 8-point lead to the Eagles. We've got 6 minutes before quarter time.
Derbies have been dominated by the Dockers recently. Bounce again in the middle. Cruiser tries to win clean possession. Goes nowhere. Dowler gets a hand pass out in the middle. Tuck gets the hand pass off to Dew. He hand passes to Osborne. Aussie's kick to full forward. Roughhead.
This has been nearly the best game I've seen Dew play.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of, quite often you see him as a finisher, but today he's done so much good work in setting up for others.
Well, Roughhead has kicked 7. How about 8? As the Premiers get their season back on track, we're right behind it. That is number 8. Never in doubt from about 45 metres. 2 in the last quarter. And Hawthorn 16-10, 106, getting away from the Blues 12-9, 81.
Well, Ruffy may pinch it off Sewell. He may pinch the medal, the Parkin medal off Sewell, and quite frankly, so he should. He's been outstanding up forward. He's leading, he's worked on his man, he's marking overhead, his body work around the ground, been fantastic. And Osborne, just a little chip in, nice pass, right out in front, exactly what you want. When tested the Hawks, they've come through. They've continued to just keep fighting. They win the centre bounces thanks to Sewell and Mitchell and Lewis. Those 3 tough rough nuts. They're beauties in there, I tell you.
5 goals to 1 in this last quarter after they led by just a point at 3-quarter time.
25 points the Hawks lead. Renouf down to Mitchell. And that is where it stays. This is Roughhead's best day in front of goal. I think his previous best was 6. Which came last year against the Eagles. All in the middle. Judd with a hand pass out to Gibbs, who bounces it to half forward, mishandled by Dowler. Betts slid through without it, got it back though from Carazzo. On to Simpson. He must goal here, and Simpson does. So the Blues pull 1 back. It's a long way to go though, and we are in time on of the final term. 19 points, 13-9, 87 to Hawthorn 16-10, 106.
I'm just thinking Anzac Day. I'm thinking Anzac Day here because one side skipped away, and what we know in Anzac Day, it looks as if Collingwood are going to be, and Essendon came back at them. And a lot of it was because Collingwood went back in their shell and tried to play safety and save the game. It's going to be very interesting now to watch how Hawthorn goes about this situation.
Continue to attack's the key.
Yeah, well, that's what I believe. Let's just see what happens.
Play the game that got you there. The lead is now 19 points, approaching the 21-minute mark of the last quarter. Perfect bounce again in the middle. Rode by Mitchell. His kick is smothered by the pack. He's now smothered by the pack. Can't breathe in there. And the umpire will bounce again. Great game by Sammy Mitchell. Umpire didn't waste any time getting it into the turf. Renouf wins the hit out. Comes to Mitchell again. He gets Hawthorn going forward. Throwing himself at it was due. Hawthorn still going forward. It was chopped off by Waite. His hand pass out wide to the wing. Taken by Mark Murphy. His kick is smothered by Dowler. Campbell Brown gives chase. Carazzo there. Brown takes him to ground. Murphy followed up and fumbles the ball over the boundary line, but the Blues have got it down towards half forward. Right half forward flank for this boundary throw in. Great game. Pleasure to be here.
Half forward for the Blues on the throw in. Cruiser wins front position. Ren off the tap though. Wiggins seemed to get all over the back of Sewell. And that is how the umpire saw it. Sewell's free kick at left half-back.
Is Parko the sole judge?
I think so. I think it's like the Ross Glendinning medal. However Parko feels is how Parko feels. The kick across half-back for Tuck, and he switched play completely out to Robert Campbell. Kicks up the wing. Fevola came back one-handed. Didn't bring it down. Falls for Dowler, who knocked it on to Tuck. Hand pass to Rioli. Backward he goes to Tuck. Whitecross, who actually had that touch when I called Tuck the first time. Tuck across half back for Murphy. So Hawthorn are chipping it around still with 7 minutes left in the game.
Blues are desperately working to get it man on man, one on one. They're trying to make Hawthorn honest.
Murphy to Mitchell.
Come on, Fev, that's you.
Oh, really?
Weak link in the chain, didn't chase.
Kicked it to Campbell. Campbell hand passed over the top to Guerra on the southern wing. Now the kick was smothered by Cruiser, who absolutely committed himself. Followed up, jamming the tackle there was Murphy.
Made by
Wins
Cruiser.
holding the ball. Fevola's going to sneak away with the advantage and kick it straight to Vince. He gives it off to Fevola. Followed up, loads it up from 52 and carries the journey. There's a pulse. There's a pulse in the navy blue camp. 7 goals for Fevola.
He's got 7, all right. He has got 7. He's been fantastic in that area. But it wasn't him who won that ball out there. It was Matty Cruiser.
He was bludgeoning, Fev.
Oh,
He
it
got
was
lucky.
absolutely, it was a picnic for him, that one. He just ran past another one, and everyone will go, how good's Fev? But let me tell you, how good's Cruiser? He is just outstanding. His follow-up from the centre bounce. He's continued to chase and tackle. He's setting an enormous example. That's what leadership's about. No matter how old you are or how many games you played, you can do that. Fev, take a lesson from that young man, please.
Scoreboard at the MCG. Hawthorn 16-10-106. Carlton 14-9-93. 24 minutes on Grandstand AFL. Drew Morphett.
A ruckman, 50-50. It comes underfoot and the umpire will ball it up again. Roughhead has kicked 8. Fevola has kicked 7. And the margin on the scoreboard is 13 points in favour of the Hawks. Time left for the Blues. 24 and a quarter minutes gone. Here's the second bounce. Renouf wins. Again, you can't clear this area. And the umpire will bounce again. Hawthorn will be happy to block this up, not let this ball come outside the circles. Cruiser with strength wins the hit out, but it goes to Lewis. Tough ball, one in there by Tuck. Gets a hand pass to Brown. Campbell Brown, a little one off the left boot. Mark taken by Bateman. Ball barely went 15 metres. Kicked by Bateman down the line. Running out of room is due. He's happy with that. And there'll be a throw in at left half forward for the Hawks. 106 plays 93. Even if they lose, I don't think they'll lose a lot of friends today, the Blues. They have announced themselves.
There's still a heap of time left in this game. Gibbs wins it away from the stoppage. His handball was bad. Lewis's kick was smothered, though, by Armfield, who threw himself at it. And the ricochet went out of bounds. Now 40 out from the Hawthorn goal. Cruiser and Taylor. Cruiser tapped down to Stevens, got caught, hand passed up in the air. Franklin made the interception. Off to Tuck. Cruiser the tackle again. It fell for Waite under the pressure. Now to Bauer, to O'Helpin, to Scotland, to Bauer. O'Helpin, they're away the Blues. O'Helpin got it out to Russell. On to Stevens at half forward. Fevola's in front. Fevola will kick this from 50 metres. And this will bring the MCG to life. 7 goals, 3 from the field. His team is trailing by 13 points. To move Carlton within striking distance. Fevola from 51. It's good. It's good. It's oh so very good. 8 for the field. Carlton 15-9-99. Hawthorn 16-10, 106, 26 and a half minutes gone of the final 2.
Oh, and there's the advantage of super skills. Under pressure, whipping the ball around the back line, but being brave, take them on. Use the centre corridor, use the centre of the ground. We're behind, we've got to take some educated risk. And all of a sudden you release one of your players and it's one of your key playmakers and he just gets the footy, picks it up, has a look, Nick Stevens, and sees Fevola streaming straight away and puts it straight in, lace up right in front of his eyes. And the Fev goes back and kicks the goal.
Gee, that was fantastic, the way they broke from that scramble and opened it up in midfield. Won by Renniff in the middle, down to Sewell, hurried left foot at a half forward. Punched away by Bauer from Franklin, comes to Scotland. Go Arnfield, floats a hand pass over the top to Russell. Here come the Blues again. Waite has it at half-back flank, kicks to midfield. Cruiser marks near the circles, pops over the hand pass to Arnfield, who kept coming to Scotland. They're coming hard, the Blues. Kick to Fevola. It's punched away from him with courage. Judd has it near the boundary line, slips down, ball still alive, and taken over the boundary line by desperation by the Hawks. Tom Murphy, a throw in the forward pocket. 7 points the margin. Hawthorn clinging on. Here come the Blues. Forward pocket for the Blues. Cruiser wins the hit out down to Judd. Bumped out of his arms. It comes to Murphy. He snaps across the face of goal. Behind Mark Murphy. And it is one straight kick. The difference at the 28-minute mark.
Oh, it's white knuckle stuff now. Hawthorn have to be good with the footy. You fancy they really should kick a goal just to make sure of it. Dew kicks in. He's gone into the back pocket. So that first task is accomplished. It's Whitecross who has to find the link outside of the defence. Everybody's manned up. Sliding in was Hodge, but he didn't mark. The Blues have won the turnover. Stevens, Fevola, no, Campbell came back in front, didn't mark. Judd wins the hand pass out to Carazzo. Now to Scotland from 50. It wobbles into the pocket. Spoilers made. Behind is conceded. And Carlton are now 5 points adrift of Hawthorn. And they are rushing at the defending Premier at the 29-minute mark.
Gee, the Hawks look to have this game won, but Carlton have come back hard in the last quarter. Sensational game. Mitchell marks the kick in. He goes the short pass to Robbie Campbell, who marks on defensive 50. They're ticking the clock down, but the Blues will put them under pressure. Here comes Fevola. The kick didn't go 15. Up higher. It's gone about 7 metres, but he's allowed to get away with it. The mark paid to Mitchell. Short pass to Osborne, still at half-back. Osborne turns him inside out, but he's running across the half-back line and going for a bounce. Now he kicks it backwards. Dowler takes the mark. Deep inside defensive 50. They're poking it around here, the Hawks. Was there a lesson not learned on Anzac Day? Osborne has it again. Half-back flank, kicks down the line. And it is run over the line by Murphy of Hawthorn, short of the wing, and will have a throw in. Have they put up the shutters? Is it too early? One straight kick by the Blues and they can win it. They trail by 5 points.
You just feel like they'll get at least one chance at it. Judd at the stoppage, got caught by Mitchell, couldn't break out. Ball will be bounced on the southern wing. The Hawks are calling all their numbers into defence. The Blues want their numbers around the footy. They've got to win possession. Gibbs went third man up, knocked it down. Mitchell took it. Lewis underground hand pass. Whitecross had to paddle it out. Scotland couldn't handle it round the laces. Has it now. Hand pass to Gibbs on the wing. Quick to half forward. Hawks have four around it. They all spoiled each other. Betch to Carazzo. Carazzo got mown down. Sauls has the footy. To Mitchell. To Renoff. To Dew. To Osman. Osman high into the 50. Rioli's got to go. Tries to do enough to keep Joseph away from it.
Free kick. And 50 metres.
Franklin has kicked the ball away. And Aaron Joseph, who's been paid the free kick, simply has to be given a 50-metre penalty. He's not going to be. 100 times out of 100, that's a 50-metre penalty.
No doubt. Here he is inside defensive 50. The kick by Joseph. Unmarked is Cade Simpson on the wing. There's time left for the Blues. Kick by Simpson into midfield. Arnfield takes the mark near the circles. He's nearly blindsided. Shrugs the tackle. Another youngster. The kick by Arnfield. Long. Fevola. He's got it! A mark for Fevola. 15 out.
What play by Arnfield.
How good was Arnfield?
Sensational, son. Worked through the middle of the ground. Under pressure, three around him. He just took them on. That's the way to do it.
Fevola can win the game with a kick from about 20 metres. Angle about 45 degrees. They trail by 5 points at the 32-minute mark. He's kicked 8. This for number 9 to win the game. He's hit the post! He has hit the right-hand goalpost on the inside. And Hawthorn are clinging on by 4 points.
You couldn't believe it. Fevola is distraught.
Well, he can be distraught, but he needs to pick up a man. Get one each around the ground and stop them and make them kick to a contest. That's the key.
What a stunning finish if that's the way it ends. Stewart due to kick in. He's got the man in the pocket. And he just chips it there. Dowler careful with the kick. Whitecross takes the mark. 30 out from goal.
Still hasn't got over it, Fev.
He's called to play on. Whitecross, Fevola's rushing at him. Whitecross got away from Fevola. He just hoofs it outside the area. Franklin's in the pack. Bow the spoil. The Hawks win the footy. Mitchell hand passes to Franklin. They're clinging on. He goes backward to Osman. Osman's trapped on the boundary. Scotland came at him. Hand pass to Mitchell. Now to Franklin, dragged off it. To Renoff. To Mitchell. Kicks it up to the wing. Rioli in front. Armfield with him. Rioli glides through the pack. And he's away. A bounce. He'll deliver inside the 50. Williams got it. The Hawks are home. The siren has sounded. The Williams mark doesn't count. And it doesn't matter. Mark this down as the day the Hawthorn Premiership defence began. And Carlton proved they belong in the top portion of the ladder. Hawthorn by 4 points in a thriller. Brendan Fevola is lying on the ground, arms over his face. He booted 8 goals. He had the chance to win it from 15 out. He hit the post. It's the drama of football played out on the stage before 69,000 people. 16-10, 106 Hawthorn. Carlton 15-12, 102. And there is no more important art in the game of football than the ability to kick goals. He booted them from 50 consistently throughout the afternoon. But when it had to be one of the best full forwards, he hit the post. Sense of, as well as exhaustion, real camaraderie and admiration between the players as they mill for longer than you would tend to do after a regular home and away match. And there were those from Hawthorn who wanted to console Brendan Fevola, just as one professional footballer to another.
Fevola, 8 goals 4. Roughhead, 8 goals 2. Hawthorn by 4 points.
The rest of the goal kickers, Franklin 2, due to singles to Williams, Osborne, Moss and Brown. For Carlton, Simpson, O'Halpin, Stevens, Scotland and Carazzo the singles, with Betts, the other multiple goal kicker, with 2. That final score, 16-10, 106. To Carlton, 15-12, 102. Sure, anyone quite knows what to do. No one really wants to leave just yet.
Both teams milling around close to each other, and the handshakes and the pats on the head lasted a long time, as you said. And Carlton so close, but they have announced themselves for sure, and Fevola is inconsolable.
Let's just get a score from Adam White ever so briefly. Whitey?
That was a boring game. West Coast 4-7-31 and Fremantle 4-2-26. We've played about 3.5 minutes in the second term. This one is a good game too.
We'll get more regular scores as the importance and the excitement just fades here. It's going to take a little while though. Hawthorn by 4 points. They are going to head and exchange gifts with their fans and then go to the rooms. But Mark McClure, give us your best.
Oh, that was just so exciting, and what a game of football. Forget about who won. I think the game of football was the winner today. That was just brilliant stuff by both sides. The Hawks, we know they're good. We understand they're good. They are the premiers, and we understand that. You must see them under pressure. I love watching them when they're under the pump and what they can do. Saw Mitchell and Sewell and Rioli. Rioli was outstanding through the middle of the ground, and Lewis, of course. They just stand in there and they fight, and they won't let you out whatever chance you want to do. They tackle their opponents into submission, and they just did it again. The little things they do just actually make them a great side. Their work on the mark, I reckon they blocked 5 or 6 handballs and kicks from the mark. Their smothers around the ground. They work very hard for each other. They are a super side. They're just that was an excellent display, and they know how to win. That's the other point, that they know how to do that as well. The Blues learned a lesson today, the power of pressure. What you can do to somebody else by actually applying the same pressure that's applied to you. They copped some, they gave some. They have some players who aren't quite up to it yet, and that was shown, but they only got beat by a kick. So how good could they be if they actually start to move them on and get some new, fresh blood through? The couple of blokes who really worried me a little bit was Cloak was one and Houlihan was the other. The two players who probably...